Good evening, chat. Hello, everybody. It's all late. It's all late. Sorry, you guys. Sorry there, bros. You'll get it next time. And Rumble should be up. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday night show. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am a defense attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and obviously do like criminal defense stuff. But we are going to have our Thursday night show. We talk about a lot of things tonight, some criminal related topics with a couple of trials we've been following, and then just some funny things that have happened out there lately. Actually, I think are kind of, and something you need a little bit of levity in life. You need a little bit of levity. We are live tonight on Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube here. And I want to say hello also, last but not least, to locals, and that's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. If you guys aren't familiar with that, locals is basically what Patreon was supposed to be. And we are having a lot of fun over there. And what we get to do is just like Patreon. You could sign up for free. You get access to the live wall. You guys can post stories there, talk about things that are going on, things that think you are important. I'll post things I think that are important. We can have a lot of fun there. Now, what else do you get from there? Well, in addition to all of that, you can also join and become a supporter. It costs $3 a month. That's the least they let me charge. And then from there, you get access to everything. And by everything, I also include 2 live shows a week. You get a live show every Monday night. We start about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And we usually hang out for a good portion of the evening. And then every Thursday night. So after this show, we go hang out on Locals. We talk about things we can't talk about here, didn't get time to talk about, or the things that YouTube would get mad if we talked about. I mean, so for example, we can talk about all kinds of fun stuff. You can touch forbidden objects there. And you get access to those. We also do multiple live streams through various events. We'll hang out and have a Formula One watch party. We usually watch Mr. Medicare together, in our own little space. It's actually a lot of fun. Obviously I recommend it because I think it's fun. But those are things you get if you are a member, and I highly advise of it. If you guys aren't sure if it's for you, you can use the promo code 1 month free with the promo code Booger Sugar, and you will get free access for 1 month to everything. And that's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. And I highly recommend you there. Also, guys, we have a live chat that goes every Thursday night. And we run that over here just so you guys have a place to be where you can post memes and do all kinds of stuff you wouldn't be allowed to do if this was YouTube. So just something to think about, and I wanted to say hello to everybody there. If you guys are also know, we try to give people about 10 minutes or so to filter in, and that's just because it takes a while for people to get here. Usually they got better things to do, or other things are going on. And actually, am I even on? Are we even up on Rumble? It looks like we're up. I'm not sure though. I can't tell. So if you guys are out there, Rumble is up tonight. Rumble's finally working. And yes, there should be a lot of fun stuff out there. One things I'm going to be working on coming up is Boogie2988. And if you guys don't know who he is one of the kind of older lolcows on the internet. But it appears he's been scamming people with fake cancer claims and has been, let's just call it wire fraud, basically. And that's where we are. So I think it'll be fun to talk about what's going on with Boogie and all the criminal stuff that he's facing. Now, today's been an interesting day. We just got done with the President Biden's big boy press conference, as they called it. And, yeah, it wasn't the best. Wasn't the best. I mean, I wasn't like totally wowzered by it, but hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And then we're gonna be starting off tonight. There's some interesting stuff out there tonight, chat. We got two big issues that, well, I think it's just a symbol, as a symbol of the further breakdown of the democratic process and things that are going. I want everybody to watch the Hours of Trial. I got to break it up. Don't worry, I'll work on it. I just need time. I've been a little busy. Uh, that's a shame. Hey, good to see you. It says, I saw one question. I was so annoyed I had to turn it off. Well, it wasn't even the questions that were the problem. He starts off by saying, I have a list of people here. We'll start with Bob. And he just goes right away. And yes, and it's good news. Apparently, we have Vice President Donald Trump, which, oh my gosh, you just love to see it, don't you, chat? And actually, hold on, guys, 1 second. All right, we're back. Sorry. A Alec Baldwin trial is in full swing. We are not going to be covering that tomorrow, first thing in the morning. I've got stuff I have to do, and I have stuff, first thing in the afternoon that I will be back. So probably around 3 o'clock or so, we'll get started. I know that's kind of a shitty time, but that's where I kind of have to go. And besides, they're not actually starting till 11:30 tomorrow, which is kind of weird, but that's where the jury's showing up. So there's going to be some pretrial stuff going on, but the jury's not even showing up till 11:30, and I've already got stuff I got to do before then, guys. So yeah, we're going to be kind of on their own. And got a couple of super chats real quick. A name of some sort says, been a member for 12 months. Says happy cake day to me. Well, happy birthday, man. Saying, when do I get Reddit gold, sir? I don't know how to tell you this, but there's no Reddit gold here. There never will be. And then Schrodinger's Denny's order says, what, Biden VP pick of Donald Trump didn't sway your vote? Anyway, yes. Yes, I do think the idea of a federal, the one thing I thought was really, I was completely surprised by, was the idea of a federal rent control mandate or program. And I'm like, how the fuck is that going to work? I mean, really? Is that, I just don't understand how that's going to work for Biden. Like, I don't know how that's going to work going forward. That was really probably the weirdest part of it all. That was really the weirdest part for me. Because I mean, think about it. It's, I mean, I could see, HUD saying rent control and freezing how much they'll pay on Section 8, because that is kind of one of the things. That's kind of one of the unknown secrets out there. If you don't know about that and you're a landlord, if you start doing Section 8 and you just raise your rent slowly, but you keep consistently doing it, they keep paying. I don't know what the game plan is with that, though, trying to do. I just don't know. Did I hear about the minister in the Maldives getting arrested for black magic? I have now. This is we'll cover this. This looks hilarious. This looks epic, chat. So we'll get to this one. All right. So I think we've got enough time, and let's get started. I think we'll start off in the first place. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin. Yes, that actor. Yes, the famous actor Alec Baldwin is currently on trial for the involuntary manslaughter of Helena Hutchins. We just have finished with day 2. And today was a little different. And even though a lot of this is a rehash of what happened with Hannah Reid, we're seeing what high quality attorneys can do to a case and change up how things are. Alec Baldwin has good, capable attorneys. Hannah Reid did not. And I think Hannah Reid's problem now we're seeing is if she had even gotten the public defender, I can only imagine. I can only imagine how good it would be, and she might have had a better chance. So the most interesting thing today was that Alec Baldwin is accused of using the revolver he was using. He says it went off on its own. Is manufactured by Pieta. Pieta is an Italian gun company. Now you might be thinking, why are we using Italian guns? Well, Italy, it's the home of spaghetti westerns. The Italians love the Wild West. And for many people in Italy and also Europe in general, cowboy guns are like the acceptable guns you're allowed to own under law. Number one, because they're not semi automatic, and that includes lever action guns, but also you're not using military calibers. No military is using 45 Colt. No military is using 357 Magnum, 4440. All along those lines. There's all these things you can do with those. So the Alec Baldwin's argument is, well, I was holding the gun. He's like, I was just holding it, and I cocked the hammer back, and it went off. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, chat. And today they brought in Mr. Pieta, Alessandro Pieta, and he came in to talk about what happened today. And he pointed out that, well, we'll listen to him because I think this is, given Alec Baldwin's interview with George Stephanopoulos, which I guarantee was coming in, this was very devastating to his case and the way the guy explained it. So if you guys don't know who this is the guy. He's the Italian guy here. Obviously, that's Alec Baldwin. Looking all grumble puff. And guys, I've said this a couple times for him. Do not look like him when you're dealing with criminal things. Don't sit there with your arms crossed. It's not becoming. It makes you look like an asshole. Especially when you're being accused, like just real quick. And actually we'll put this down. This is a free tip. This is a pro tip. When you're accused of unaliving someone, intentionally or unintentionally, a smart move is to be attentive and be involved. A bad move, and a actually rather moronic move, is to sit there and look like you're not giving a shit. So, for example, when Alec Baldwin's been looking like this, or when he's just been like, oh, those don't instill. And I'm not saying to do that when the jury's out, fine. But while the jury's in and they're sitting there looking at you, and you're just like this, what does that look like? That looks like I don't give a fuck. Why am I here? Now, I've heard theories that he's had, a hip replacement, things like that. Well, okay. Hopefully the jury knows, because otherwise they see you sitting there not giving a fuck. And you know what? They're going to remember that, and they're going to think about that. Especially if you get up on the stand later and you go, oh my God, I'm so sorry for killing that person. They're going to say, you didn't look like that the whole time. So, free advice, guys. Don't look like a schlub when you're sitting in a trial, especially a trial for a homicide offense. Yes, Karam's right. Fuck the jury. They're peasants. Sunshine says, don't talk to cops. Don't talk to George Stephanopoulos. Yes. Don't talk to the cops. Don't talk to the press. Remember, you think you hate journalists, but you don't hate them enough. Kim and I says, Shannon Sharp has had hip replacements and a bunch of other surgeries and doesn't sit like that. Well, Shannon Sharp is in a lot better shape than Alec Baldwin ever will be. Alec Baldwin's over 65 years old. He's like 66. And even then, remember, Shannon Sharp, Super Bowl winning, wideout. He's in a lot better shape there. So, just saying. Just saying. Something to think about. Benjamin Lewis is a landlord of 1.6 apartments. It's fucking bullshit. Yes. Garrett Pace says rent control wouldn't pass muster. I don't think so either, but they would try it in the meantime. And then we'll get on to this. We need to watch this video though to get started here, because it's very revealing. I think it's gonna be very harmful to Alec Baldwin.
Are you familiar with how this particular gun fires?
What does that mean?
Well, what does it take to
you need to
make it shoot?
You need to cock the hammer and pull the trigger.
Do you know this gun that you have in front of you will fire without a pull of the trigger?
Actually, this gun cannot fire because from what I see is missing some parts. So.
Okay, I'm talking about when it was first.
Oh, sure, of course.
Does it fire? Would it fire without a pull of the trigger?
No.
Why not?
Because the mechanic, the design of the hammer and the trigger has been designed since Samuel Colt made this gun to work in that way.
And can you explain under what circumstances it will only fire?
Well, when you cock the hammer, the trigger will engage the firing knock position. That is the farthest one, so the last position of the hammer. And if you want to release the hammer, you need to pull the trigger. The trigger is just a shear that locks the hammer in that position. And if you want to do that, you need to pull the trigger.
Okay. Now, is there also a manufacturer's...
So, yes, and that's Alessandro Pieta. So, yes, he's speaking with a little bit of a Italian accent there. I mean, I hope you guys weren't expecting him to go like, Yahoo! We killed a Bowser with these guns. Yeah! Let's go! So, is that Stanley Tucci? No. They should have called Sam Hyde to testify. Oh, that would have been... Yes. That would have been great. So, that was what happened today. Now, is that completely fatal for Alec Baldwin? No, but it's only going to get worse from here, chat. And ultimately, we're going to end up with the fact that Alec Baldwin was pointing a gun at someone and pulled the trigger and killed them. So, that is the problem. I don't know how he gets past that. It's going to be very, very, very tough. But we'll see. We will see. Now, moving on, I guess we'll start off with the main topic for tonight. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think that's how you say it if you roll your ethnically. I should replace Chris Pratt in the next Mario movie, yeah. That'd be great. He walks up to Bowser in the thing, and he's just goes... Bowser pulls up the... Bowser hops onto the bridge, and Mario just goes, pow! And Bowser just flump. That'd be so great. So anyways, we're going to move on to AOC here, and let's see the brilliance of the brave bartender. So she's representing New York's 14th district. Yesterday, she introduced articles of impeachment against Justice Clarence Thomas and Justice Samuel Alito. And as she says, the unchecked corruption of the Supreme Court has now spiraled into a constitutional crisis threatening American democracy writ large. Yes, it's been so dangerous. It's always a threat to democracy, chat. It's always a threat. Now, what is the big thing AOC is complaining about? Well, she is complaining about something that I think is actually something I don't like either. That Justice Alito and Thomas have failed to disclose they've received millions of dollars of gifts from individuals. Business before the court is explicitly against the law. Now, it's not, a lot of it's not good. There are not a lot of good looks here where Clarence Thomas has accepted things, Alito's accepted things. yeah, there is a bit of an issue there. And I don't remember, we talked about this with the Young Thug case. The appearance of impropriety is just, that on its own is bad. The appearance of impropriety is more than enough to draw out issue. Now, the impeachment resolutions, she'll talk about this and we'll go through those and what they actually cover. Now, she did write a letter to Chief Justice Roberts saying, why don't you do something? And this letter here is from the House Oversight Committee. And it's from, and if you'll notice here at the bottom, it's from Jamie Raskin, Democrat, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the vice ranking member. Now, why are they the ranking members? Because they don't control the House. The Republicans do. So they're just the ranking member and the second ranking member. Now, what are they complaining about? What are they freaking out about? So they write it to the Honorable John G. Roberts, who is the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. Yes. The alarm about the deepening ethics crisis at the Supreme Court of the United States. Does that include the ethics of like when the opinion got released early? Because I consider that a big problem too. But they point out that, every justice seeks to follow high ethical standards, but there is no real code of conduct. There are no code of ethics for the Supreme Court. And people have thought, well, maybe Congress should get involved. Well, remember, that's a separation of powers issue. Is the Supreme Court now going to control how members of Congress are dealt with? No, the Supreme Court has routinely said, whatever you guys do internally, we have no say on. Well, likewise, there's going to be probably similar. Whatever you guys say, we have no duty to. But they point out that Justice Thomas has concealed, and they claim concealed, his receipt of numerous gifts, including trips on private jets and super yachts paid for by private mega donors. Although he doesn't really have donors, but it's Republican donors, I think is how they're trying to explain that. And they say the court has minimal disclosure requirements. And then they bring up that Justice Alito has repeatedly flown flags at his properties associated with the Stop the Steal movement. Oh no, chat. What kind of a flag did he fly? What kind of a flag did he fly? It just sounds so bad. What flag did he fly? Are you ready for it, chat? Are you ready for it? It's, buckle up, chat. Buckle up. What did Samuel Alito fly? This. The pine tree flag. Saying with an appeal to heaven. That's what he flew. And then he flew an American flag upside down. He may disagree with things. So how's this been used? Well, it predates the United States founding. It was used by naval forces that General George Washington commissioned and put into effect in 1775. So there are times where you'll see it with a red cross on it, kind of like the English flag. You'll see a red cross on the flag too. But that's all this is. That's all it is. Oh no. So scare. So scare. So scare, chat. So scare. I'm just quaking in my boots. Now these revelations call into question both the integrity and impartiality of two sitting justices. Came only a result of the diligent work of the press and Congress. And remember, you don't hate journalists enough. Now, they do mention there is one thing here that authorizes the Judicial Conference of the United States as a supervising ethics office for judicial officers, including Supreme Court justices. And we'll get to them in a minute because they kind of boomerang around into another story we're covering. Now, they point out that Justice Thomas has received in the last 2 decades gets valued at worth at least $2.4 million, possibly even as much as $4.2 million. Well, how do you know if it's a minimum, but you know it could be more? Are you sure it's that much anyway? But even let's just say it's $1 million. That's still a lot of shit to take. Apparently it's more than 10 times what Justice Alito collected. And he obtained the second most terms of gifts by sitting just valued at $170,000. So they are very, very upset with Justice Thomas. So AOC filed her resolution. And she wants to impeach Clarence Thomas. Now, we've never had an impeachment of a Supreme Court justice in, recent memory. So this is a little different. It's a little different than what we've looked at. Yes, Eric Phones, we can fly the upside down Baldo flag. That'll be great. That'll be great. But they want to impeach Clarence Thomas, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States for high crimes and misdemeanors. So what are these high crimes and misdemeanors? Well, Article 1 is failure to disclose. And they say that somebody shall be removed from office on impeachment for a conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. And they talk about these sections of Title V of the United States Code requiring judicial officers, including Supreme Court justices, to file annual reports disclosing financial gifts and reimbursements, property interest, liabilities, transactions, among other information. And they have to identify the source and a brief description and the value of all gifts. And they talk about anytime there's a brief description, the date and category of any purchase, sale, exchange of a real property exceeding $1,000. So what might be less than $1,000, guys? Well, think about it like a burial plot. You might be able to trade a piece of land like that for less than $1,000. So she claims that Clarence Thomas refused to report the source, description, and value of the gifts. Okay. Then they talk about over the last 15 years, Thomas and his wife, Ginny, have received gifts of significant value from Harlan Crow. Mr. Crow, he's on the American Enterprise Institute. Oh, no. Not them, chat. Not them. Is this AOC's way of saying if he was on the Brookings Institute, she would be like, meh. I mean, sure, we all know the answer. So, but these reported gifts include transportation on a private airplane on a yacht to and from Indonesia in 2019, valued at approximately $500,000. Non-commercial transportation on a yacht to and around New Zealand in and around 2013. I mean, I could see having a yacht when you go to New Zealand, but I would not want to take a yacht from the United States to New Zealand. Oh my God, that would be awful. That would be awful. On a yacht to and around Greece. Now that sounds like fun. Free lodging and food at a resort in the Adirondacks. Owned by a company owned or controlled by Mr. Crow. Multiple trips via non-commercial transport on a private airplane. Flights to New Haven, Connecticut. Well, he went to Yale. To Dallas, Tejas. Notice they only have 3 times. A flight in 2016, a flight in 2018, a flight in 2022. So, how many times is he flying? Because it sounds like he's paying for a lot of these on his own. 1 flight in 2021 and a flight to New York in 2022. And tuition payments in excess of $6,000 per month to 2 private schools for his grandnephew, while his grandnephew lived with Justice Thomas and was in his legal custody. He didn't disclose the sale of a single-story home and 2 vacant lots previously held by Thomas. And they were sold for $133,000, an amount significantly higher than the price of other properties in the neighborhood. Really? I can't imagine a house and 2 lots. I mean, really, in a lot of towns, 130 grand sounds like not too bad a deal. That doesn't sound too bad, honestly. These are significantly higher than the amount that Thomas valued his 1/3 stake in the properties. Well, so it wasn't just him. Allowed Justice Thomas's mother to continue living in the home rent-free through at least May of 2023. I mean, these should be good receipts then, AOC. In 2023, Thomas retroactively amended his 2024 report to report the real estate sales. But to date, Thomas has not yet to disclose both the free rent and the improvements that constitute additional gifts. I'm sure a lot of congressmen go back and you all retroactively update your shit. Let's be real here. So, because of this, his impartiality and integrity is in question. And they keep going. Article 2 is refusal to recuse from matters involving his wife's financial interest. So which one specifically? Because, it's once again with Mr. Crow. They paid his wife a salary of $120,000. Well, good for her. She has her own consulting firm, Liberty Consulting. That's really, that's an original name. Jeez. They received a bunch of fees as part of an arrangement devised by a guy named Mr. Leo. He has a nonprofit called Judicial Education Project, now known as the 85 Fund. Well, it's better than the 88 Fund. Oh, boy. And it regularly briefs before the Supreme Court, including in 2012. Okay. Seems like they've known about this for a long time, and all of a sudden they're just now figuring it out. Or they're just bringing it to light because it's convenient for them. I wonder which one it is. So they talk about Clarence Thomas's wife being involved in things. I'm sure there's going to be a thing here where I didn't see this part yet. I didn't see it before. Is there issues January 6th? I'm sure there are. Yes. In the 2020 election in which Ginny had an interest. Oh, no. Oh, no. So, yes, this is... Yes, because she's involved in it. And it's because Mark Meadows, chief of staff, had been texting with Ginny Thomas on and around January 6th. It is possible that these records included text between the two of them. So, yes, chat, this is where it's going to go. Yes, the name 69 Fund was taken. So, yeah. Do I think that's right? Thomas has taken all this money? No. And it'll be nice to see them prove all this, but we'll see. We will see. And that's enough prattling on about that now. Yes, as Bob says, accepting stuff from lobbyists is only bad when the other side does it. Yes. And I get it. If Justice Kagan and Sotomayor, they're just like, why doesn't anybody give us free stuff? It's like, I don't know. Maybe you guys are assholes. Like, have they ever thought, why don't people like us? I can see that's why these are being filed. I can see that's why these are being filed. Justice Kagan's like, that bastard Clarence. Everybody always hangs out with him. Look at him getting free yacht trips. Look at me. I get nothing. I get nothing. All I get are these dirty communists. They feed me. They invite me to the drum circles. Damn it. I can see that being an issue for her. I could see that being an issue. I can see that being an issue for Judge Sotomayor as well. She's just like, why don't I get anything? And it's like, well, there's a reason. Yes, their free stuff isn't speaking fees, which is what commonly happens. The Supreme Court justices get speaking fees out the wazoo when they show up at law schools in various places. So, yes, I think AOC is doing this, but I'm sure that very quickly, if this gains any traction, there's going to be rumblings of, you should probably let this go. Because there's a big, I think, Justice Kagan and Sotomayor are like, I don't, they're just gonna look at it and say, I don't really want to talk about this, AOC. Like, leave it alone, girlfriend. Leave it alone. Like, no, I want to keep going. And they're just gonna be like, no, leave it alone. And we have a Jack Coleman's been a member for 3 months. Says, can we now call AOC a racist? I mean, what was stopping you? And then Charlie, for $10, says, the Australian taxpayer funded this super chat. Yes, $10 reduce. Thank you, Charlie. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, AOC is fantastic milkers. Yeah, she got that big booty Latina. As Alex Stein told her, get that big juicy ass. I think where's that? I gotta find that clip of her real quick where she keeps talking about it. And it's like, I love it because she keeps talking about it. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, I did find it.
Look at that big ass. Look at that big juicy booty. This Latina. Look at that big ass. Look at that big juicy booty. This Latina. Look at that big ass. Look at that big juicy booty. This Latina. Look at that big ass. Look at that big juicy booty. This Latina. Look at that big ass. Look at that big juicy booty. This.
You could just watch it forever, chat. Like, it's so great. She's just letting them go and go and go and go and go, and she doesn't stop. She doesn't stop, and I don't get it. I just hope so. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. Yes, big old, yeah. Yeah. She was cool with it until she could play the victim on Instagram later, yeah. Oh. Yeah, she loved it up until she learned who Alex Stein was. Yeah, that was the other thing too. So those are being filed against Clarence Thomas. The ones against Justice Alito. You didn't know is against Samuel Alito Jr. And if you didn't know that, that's his name, Samuel. Just like other great Sams in history, like Samuel Hyde. So what did he do? Well, we'll go through this real quick. Refusal to refuse cases from which he had a personal bias or prejudice concerning a party. Okay. Well, when he took office on January 31st, 2006, he took a constitutional oath and a judicial oath. Well, what did he do, though? Let's get to that because let's find it. In 2021, Alito allowed an upside-down American flag to be flown outside his primary residence for several days. At the time, and will still, an upside-down American flag is widely understood to be an expression of support for the criminal efforts. No, a upside-down American flag is is a well-known distress symbol, and that's actually a nautical thing. If you are on a boat and you fly the American flag upside down, that is meant to be a distress signal. So I love how she's like, oh, it's for criminals. Nope. And this event shortly occurred before Justice Alito allowed the flags to be flown outside his residence. By displaying this flag, he showed support for domestic enemies of the United States. Really? Maybe he likes history flags. Maybe he has a political opinion, AOC. I don't know. Maybe he's an idiot and put it upside down. In summer 2023, by allowing a flag associated with criminal efforts to overturn it, it was flown outside his secondary residence for several months. Oh, no. Flying a flag of the pine tree on it. I mean, there's a million Revolutionary War flags. Is she going to freak out at all of them? I mean, that's kind of where we're stuck. I don't know, chat. I don't know. Shade Chaser over on Rumble says, if burning a flag is now usually considered free speech, shouldn't flying one upside down also be free speech? It is, but like I said, if you're on a boat, flying one upside down is like an actual distress signal. But yes, it should be. You're allowed to say, I don't like how things are going. Yes, are we going to, and then Shade Chaser says, are we going to check AOC's bank records too? We should. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to show us everything and she'll lay it all bare. Yeah, like that's going to happen. So she is, and then she says that recusing himself from things, his partiality might reasonably question, and his failure to recuse himself of Trump v. United States and Fisher v. United States. And Trump v. Anderson. Trump v. Anderson was the Colorado case. But even if Alito had left Trump v. United States, it would have been 5-3. I don't know, like, doesn't change anything there. But at what point do you say, I don't agree with it? I don't think it was right. Okay. Does that mean like, oh, you can't be here? Come on. Trump v. United States Supreme Court case about the preservation of a functioning democracy. Yes, because you know all about democracy and functioning. Functioning at the highest levels. And Fisher v. United States asked whether the United States Code, a provision of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, could be applied to the insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol building in order to attempt to stop the certification votes. And yeah, you know what? Why is he not allowed to say, yeah, we're not using a law for created out of the fall of Enron against a bunch of retards who break into the Capitol? Well, what's the conflict there? I don't see it. And then Trump v. Anderson asked whether a state court can enforce Trump's disqualification when he incited the January 6th insurrection. He incited a chat. And notice, this is it. By repeatedly flying flags. You're a bad man, Justice Alito. You've flown flags. You must be banished. Whoa! That's literally what that's what we're dealing with. The intellectual firepower of AOC. You have flown a flag, good sir. You must leave. Absolutely fucking retarded, chat. Absolutely retarded. Then he's getting charged of failure to disclose as well. And he did accept things as well. They're arguing. Notice you don't see, with him, you don't see all the money amounts. You just see, well, Justice Alito did a bunch of bad stuff. Ja. Okay, AOC, good luck. Good luck. I'm sure it's going to get us to where we want to go as a society. So it'll be very interesting to see where these go. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere because you're going to need the support of Congress to get rid of a judge. But it is interesting to see her try this and see where it materializes. I do think it's worth it's worth it to see how this goes. It's, maybe she's pointing this out for everybody else to start doing it. So we're now allowed to impeach lefty judges, right? Yes, but that's not going to go anywhere either. Adam was Sitchin. Adam loves AOC. I mean, hey. That we all can't be perfect. We all can't be perfect. That voice is hilarious. Well, yeah. And Phone Punk says he just flew the wrong flag. I know. If he had flown the hammer and sickle, AOC would be like, oh my God, like that's totes brave. Yas King Slay. Sammy Slay is what she'd probably yell. Wasn't his wife who flew the flags though? Well, and that's funny. Like, your wife is not allowed to think freely. It is your fault, sir. But it's like, wait, she's her own person. No. So yes, we're taking away the autonomy of women. Brittany, yes. Sorry, you have no more autonomy if they want to go after your husband. You're now helpless. At least Marjorie Taylor Greene's impeachment files on Biden were relevant and correct. This is freaking stupid. Yeah, but remember, guys, it's like the way I see it, MTG is kind of like the counterbalance to AOC. Nature abhors imbalance. Nature always seeks to balance things. Nature wants to keep, it's like chemistry. Everything needs to be in an equilibrium state. Like you see, like aluminum. Aluminum is highly reactive, and it reacts and it creates that film on it, so it quits reacting with the world. Like an explosive. An explosive, its preferred state is to be exploded, because then the stored up energy is gone. So everything likes to be dissipated and evenly. Well, you got AOC and you got MTG, and they kind of counterbalance each other. MTG says more intelligent things, but she's far from being a Rhodes Scholar herself. That comparison is unfair to MTG. Well, she balances it out. Access the first law of thermodynamics. All matter is neither created nor destroyed. Well, I'm not saying it's destroyed. The matter is not destroyed. It's just changed. It's gone from one state to another state, or from one type of molecule to another type. Like, you explode it. Well, now it's burned up, whatever it is. Explaining burritos and Taco Bell. I don't know how to. What? Nature was a vacuum. Turning out your Dyson. From healthy to tarred. No, the first law is equilibrium. You guys are just being fucking retarded here. I don't know. Yes, Rebel Lord brings up a great point. In 2021, AOC went to the Met Gala. Well, the tickets cost $30,000. Yeah, who gave her a gift? She's in whose pocket now? Dun dun dun. Yes. Okay. So with that, we are moving on a couple other things that are out there. Where'd my thing go? Oh, sorry, chat. I lost it. I lost my list. Nick Rekieta update. Oh, we'll do the Nick Rekieta update. Okay. No body cam yet. Still no body cam. It's like Band of Brothers. I'm like that lieutenant standing on the vehicle saying, like, no jump tonight. And everybody's like, fuck. So yes, no jump tonight. There are no body cams coming out. You'll know when it happens. It's like, you'll know the wars start when the bombs are falling on you. You'll know the body cam footage is out when everybody's running around screaming like their hair is on fire. So we'll learn about that then. But I do want to say, from reading the forums and actually not being a moron, John, I'll get to your super chat in a second. Yes, apparently in Minnesota, you can just go up to the courthouse and just start using one of the fucking computer terminals and like get all the shit out of a juvenile court case. It's like, it's kind of surprised you could do that, but okay. All right. Well, there you go. I'm surprised though at the low quality of some of these scans and pictures are. You'd think they'd be able to do it quicker or better, I mean, I get they're doing clandestinely, but I mean, they do make wand scanners. If you've never seen them before, they are kind of neat. And it's a trick of the, landman and document collectors doing oil work. So just something to think about if you're out there. Like I said, I'm not encouraging you to copy documents you're not allowed to copy, but if you're going to do it better quality. But yes, I did not. Now I've learned my lesson. You can apparently get these. So there you go. Yes, it was mentioned the first day the court leaked. Yes. I didn't bother reading or seeing that part. So I just wanted to clear that up. And name of some sources of wand scanners gotten better. They sucked when I've had to use them. They work okay. They work okay. I mean, they work well enough. They'll work better than what we've seen with some of these scans that are put up on the farms. Holy Jesus. Guys, there has not been any, just getting back to the cases, there haven't been real updates. There's some of the documents have come out that are just kind of like a dumpster fire. The whole thing with Aaron having Aaron Imholt from Steel Toe Morning Show having a restraining order or protection order and him violating that. Yeah, it sounds like he's got his own issues there. I mean, it's all going to be a dumpster fire. Everybody in this, it's a dumpster fire for everyone. So don't be surprised if everybody has problems going forward. Art Vandalay says no body cam footage. Not yet. Not yet. Don't worry. It'll happen at some point. And besides, when it happens, like you guys all want it so bad. You want to you could taste it. Just like, But as soon as you get it, it's all the anticipation will burn away. And then you'll be left with a hole that needs to be filled. And now that you've got it, you might get your laughs and A-logging for a little while, but then it's going to go away. You don't always know what you got till it's gone. Sometimes that excitement, that anticipation, it's like Christmas. Yeah, getting your gifts on Christmas is cool, but it's that lead up to Christmas. So I'd argue is almost just as good, if not better. That feeling, and you're there. But Nick said there was good news. Oh, I guess good is all perspective. It's all about perspective. Ryan Moore says, "Don't tempt me, fat man." Yes. 10K views says it's foreplay for chat. Yes, Dirk Diggler says we'll have post body cam clarity. All right. That's enough of that. Moving on. This is one I did not get the chance to do yet. But this is very, very, very interesting. Oh, this one, Florida man. What have you done? Oh, by the way, today's 7-Eleven. Happy 7-Eleven day. You might still be able to get a Slurpee if you're out there. Or whatever they call them. We'll call them Slurpees. That's what Quickie Bar calls them. Oh, no, they call those squishies. Never mind. So anyway, a Florida man doing Florida man shit. Oh, Angela says, I got a Slurpee earlier. There you go. A Florida man is accused of shooting down a Walmart delivery drone. And he faces criminal mischief charges. Well, he's like... He almost... I haven't heard him talk, but he almost kind of has like I assume an Alex Jones vibe. Like, the globalists and their drones are just there to... They're there laying chemtrails, and they're doing it at a low level, so it really gets into our systems. And we need to take these pills with the precious metals in them. So what happened here? A man was arrested in Lake County, Florida. Dennis Wynn was charged of shooting or throwing a deadly missile into dwellings, vehicles, or vessels. Now, why is this a thing here? Shooting or throwing. Then you're like, well, who the hell throws a missile? It's not like Top Gun where it's like, I'm too close for missiles, switching to guns. No, a missile is like a bow and arrow. Or you have a javelin. Or you're chucking spears. Like, that'll be what happened. Strangle the ammunition supply in Chicago, and you'll have guys throwing. They'll be using medieval weapons. They'll be having gang fights with pikes. That'd be hilarious. Or the Crips and the Bloods form a phalanx with a bunch of sarissas, and they just start charging each other with 20-foot lances. That'd be great. But shooting or throwing a deadly missile. And there are rules against that. That's how, if you live in a city, you're probably going to see a prohibition against throwing missiles or shooting missiles or projectiles inside city limits unless in a special type of building, like a range. So that's the reason why, like, I can't go out in my house and, sit at the edge of my driveway on the street and shoot a bow into my garage, because that's against the law where I live. Now, where I used to live back when I was in law school, when I, and back with Mrs. Martin 1.0, there weren't really the rules where you had to exercise due care. So I had my neighbors had a big fence that ran along one side of our property, and I set up a couple of bales of hay, and I put an archery target in front of it, and I shot from like one end of my property to the other. Granted, it's only a quarter acre, but you can get 40-yard shots in, and that's good enough to practice with a bow. And I'm just standing there, and when I'm doing it, I'm standing within like 3 feet of one of the main roads in our town, and it's a town of like 4,000 people, so it's a village. And I'm just sitting there with my bow, just thwack, thwack. And some guy went by one time, was screaming at me like, "You can't do that." And I'm like, "Yes, I can." And I'm like, "Have a good one." And the police came over, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I showed them, "Hey, it says due care." And I'm like, "Look, I'm shooting into a bunch of hay bales, and if I miss, I've got the little shed, the little metal shed where my lawnmower is stored, and if I hit my neighbor's house, I'll deal with it." And if you look, there were once or twice where I misjudged the distance, and the arrow went short and kicked up, and there were holes in my metal shed where the arrows had gone through. So, but it happens. It happens. So anyway, Walmart has been rolling out drones. And what happened here? Okay, so according to his arrest affidavit, the probable cause, a 2-man drone-up crew was at a delivery point in a neighborhood when the shooting occurred. So the crew was there campaigning for drone up, which included proof of concept and a mock delivery for their location. The drone was 230 feet in the air when it arrived and descended around 75 feet when one of the members thought they heard gunshots. Both the crew and the drone raced back to the Walmart where deputies responded. And they found a bullet hole in the drone's payload, which, you know what, guys? You know what? If this guy, there's a drone just, and this, I can't imagine he's just sitting there with like a Glock and some old man's just like this. He's just like, well, if he's this old, it should have been a 45, but he's just sitting there going, pow, and hits a drone on the run like that. That's actually pretty based. That's pretty based, chat. I'm not even angry. I'm impressed. So the deputies made it back to the neighborhood, and then they contacted the guy who lives there. How did they know? Ask if he had an incident with a drone. I'm sure they went to the other neighbors. He allegedly used a 9mm handgun to shoot a drone that flew over his house as he was working on his pool pump. Recounting past experiences with the drones he thought were surveilling him. Do not talk to the cops, especially if you're going to act like a loon. Goddamn, those surveillance drones over me. Davos, not today, Davos. Not today, Davos. Not today.
We know we're We're breaking the conditioning! Ah! Ah! We're coming for you, globalist! Ah! Coming for you! Coming for you! We know what you're doing!
Yes, we know what you're doing. We know what you're doing, globalist. Don't talk to the cops, especially if you're just shooting off guns in the air at various flying objects. Don't do that. So, and while waiting for a transport, he yelled out to his neighbor he's going to jail for shooting a drone. The drone's damage is $2,500, which I think is bullshit. The crew noted that the aircraft is being rendered inoperable, which that is hilarious. That's a mobility kill, a mission kill. He didn't destroy it, but it's grounded. That's just as effective, chat. That's something to think about. Aside from destroying an item, getting a mobility kill or a mission kill on it, it can't perform its job. It's just as effective as destroying it. He had to post a $13,000 bond, though. Jeez. So he looks like he did it down that way. Oof. Ooh. Very interesting, but don't shoot at drones. Or come up with a different way of taking them out. Come up with another way of taking them out. I will say in Ukraine and Russia have developed anti-drone guns, and they look like big Nintendo zappers. And they're meant to disable the electronic inputs temporarily to cause the drone to either crash or immediately go back into a return profile. So it's something you might want to try is get a hold of an anti-drone rifle and just like zip and just watch it go. And then just walk back in your house and nobody will ever know. Or have your own drone and attack those drones. That's the other way of doing it. Oil-filled paintballs, yeah, but paintballs are like, people are going to notice if you're like, thwack, 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 thwack. Oh. Kim Anai says, "Oh, I shot the cop that was watching me." Yes. EMP guns? No, they're not EMP guns. What are they? Here we go. So let me. This is an example of one of them that's been fielded that you can find. This is called Drone Shield. And it's a big antenna with a battery pack. And what does it do? Well, it's big. The way it works, it is meant that it'll when it disrupts the signals. And their idea is the drone will respond on the spot to landing or return to the remote controller. And that's how these drones operate. When they get hit too hard, they either will shut down and then they just land, or they'll follow protocols that if they lose signal, they have it programmed, I need to turn around and go back home. So yes, I'm assuming those are going to start happening soon. Yes, just a standard radio scrambler. Yeah, but there's more and more, especially out in the Eastern Front, more and more encryption that's coming into these things. So, but yes, you can attack it with other drones. It would be. Dark Matter says Ukraine. You mean New Russia? Yes. Or as President Biden has said, the president of Ukraine is Vladimir Putin. So it's like, yes. Can you make a high frequency EM electronic gun out of parts? I'm sure you can. Oh. The FCC says that's illegal. Well, the FCC says a lot of things are illegal. People do anyway. The FCC says if I broadcast on if I turn this on a ham frequency and start broadcasting with it, they say that's illegal too, without a license. So there's all kinds of shit that's illegal out there, chat. It's illegal to have a cell phone jammer. Well, yes, what the FCC doesn't know won't hurt you. Yes. Although I'm surprised he has not gotten any federal charges from the FAA yet, interfering with commercial aviation, but I can see that happening in the near future. Yes, the lady from The Shining died. Yes, Shelley Duvall passed away. Yes, rip. Das Boot says, don't do it, Sean. A lot of people do it. Squizgar says, oh, it's Soul Wound says, is that a bowel thing? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Real quick, a couple of these super chats and get out of the way here. John says, AOC is so dim, we should send her a lamp. Take the shade, take the bulb, take the cord, take it all. Yes. Stephen Cooper says she would call the Serapis flag NSDP. Yes, and if you guys, that's actually probably one of the coolest flags of the Revolutionary War. If you guys have never seen it before, it's got a really neat history. And it's, let me see if I can find a picture of it. Oh, here we go. Here's a good picture. The Serapis flag. And did I kill? No, I didn't kill. This is the Serapis flag. And it's actually got a really neat history. This flag came from the Revolutionary War. So if you guys ever heard of John Paul Jones, I have not yet begun to fight. He said that as his ship, the Bonhomme Richard, the USS Bonhomme Richard. Yes, the good man Richard, named after poor Richard's almanac in honor of Ben Franklin, was engaged with the HMS Serapis in a battle off of the east coast of England, up near Scotland, in the North Sea. And yes, the U.S. Navy, John Paul Jones was sailing British waters, attacking British shipping. It wasn't like they were just waiting in the Atlantic. They were raiding towns on the British coast. Well, as he won that battle, the problem was the Bonhomme Richard was critically damaged and was sinking. So they boarded the Serapis, and the HMS Serapis became the USS Serapis. They had a big problem, though. Their flag, the ensign, the United States flag that was on the Bonhomme Richard, went down with the ship. They couldn't get it off in time. So now they're flying. Now they're on a boat without a flag. Back then, that meant you were pirates. And if you were pirates, you could be hung for that. They could hang you if you're a pirate. They could summarily execute you. So they were in a bit of a pickle. So they immediately went from England to Holland. Holland was a neutral country, and they were repairing the ship, and the British chased them. And the British told the Dutch authorities, you have 72 hours to turn over those pirates. Well, the Dutch were like, okay, yeah, we're going to have to do it. Do you guys have a flag? And we're like, no. They said, okay, well, you're pirates. We're going to have to do that. As the Serapis made its way into harbor, somebody had gotten word to the French embassy in Holland. And the French embassy was like, we need to help them out. And this was still before people knew what the American flag looked like. So the French are like, hey, we'll get them an American flag made so they can attach it to the boat and they're all set. So what did somebody tell the guy? Well, think about it. Guess what you're looking at? The American flag. So, it's 13 stripes. It's, how would you describe the flag to somebody? It's 13 stripes. It's red, white, and blue. It's got 13 stripes, and it's got a blue field with some white stars on it, right? That sounds reasonable. Well, guess what they did? It's got 13 stripes. It's red, white, and blue stripes, and there's 13 of them. There was a bit of miscommunication there. The French they got the flag ordered, they got put together, and immediately the French ambassador said, that is a United States flag. We recognize the United States of America. America's our friend. Holland said, oh, it's the U.S. flag? And they're like, oh, it's attached to a ship. That must be a U.S. ship. And they said, sorry, Britain, they're not pirates. We're not turning them over. That's the history of the Serapis flag. It's really cool. It's really funny. And it's actually, I think, one of the cooler looking flags out there. So There's your free history lesson for today. I've got a cell jammer too. I ain't said shit about what I got, so don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about it. Yes, as a ham, we can track you down. Yes, the hams do. Yes, they like to go fox hunting. But don't be a sad ham. Don't be a sad ham. It's pretty easy to track illegal transmitters. Yes, if you're out tracking them and you do some directional finding. But if I just turned on that Balfang now and just transmit it for a little bit, you would have no idea. I mispronounced Boolfang. Yes. Yes. UV5R like the radio? Yes, and it picks up FM. The Serapis. Serapis. SEP SERAPIS, sorry. SERAPIS, Serapis, not Cerebus. Serapis. That's, yeah. They wanted the history on that flag on unsubscribed. Well, yes, they talk about a lot of things there, but history is known to many people before that came about. It's, vexology is a great, great pastime when you learn about it through America, or the history of how the British flag, how the English flag eventually became the Union Jack. It's actually really neat. All them thin blue lines. Oh, no, chat. You had to go and do it. Yes. Yes, the Bonhomme Richard. Commodore Perry is pretty cool, too, yes. And he did his thing out on Lake Erie. The based Hollandaise, yes. Yes, it's made from a written description sent from Franklin. Ah. I forget how they got it, but yes. Demon's Wrath says, I've seen a different variation as the stripes were alternating. Yeah, I mean, they ended up putting, it's, regardless, there were blue stripes on the flag, and it's because they didn't fucking they thought they understood the assignment, and it's like, American flag we have at home. Rabbit Stick says the biggest problem with overtaking the Serapis, and this is how you spell Serapis, was that all the controls were in metric. Not then. Not then. Oh. BLT says, I figured that was a meme. No, it's a real flag. It's a real flag. Moose Nut says, could you do streaming around convergent surveillance capabilities and how to counter them and other privacy concerns? I need to reach out to, I've been meaning to sit down with Joe Dolio and see if he'd be willing to come on and talk about some of that from Tactical Wisdom, just because he does a lot of private security work, does a lot of consulting for that stuff, and has that knowledge, especially a lot of the radio knowledge. The FCC has no enforcement. Enough people get arrested doing dumb shit with the FCC. So don't fuck with them. Yes. Not the Serapis, no. Yes, the HMS Therapist. Jeez, you guys. You guys are funny. Amateur Iconoclast says, also, isn't that the carrier that burned? It wasn't a carrier, it was one of the marine amphibious ships. Burned, yes, it burned out in San Diego Harbor a couple of years ago. They had a welding fire, and yeah, the whole ship burned out. It's complete waste. Death Angel says, most of his hams are pretty conservative libertarian. I know you guys are, but there's some boomer hams that are just insufferable. Yes, and the Kingism is correct. They actually use the modern Serapis on the modern destroyer, the USS John Paul Jones. Yes, there's a Arleigh Burke destroyer out there that flies it currently, which is kind of neat. We'll watch the body cam, and that's a neat thing too on Locals, guys. We can watch the body cams where like crazy shit goes down because YouTube does not like shootings. So, all right, guys, we're gonna keep going here. We're gonna keep going. Where are we at? Hold on here. What's our list at right now? All right. We're an hour in and we really haven't gotten that far. We're going to keep going. Okay. Moving on. George Kelly. You guys remember we covered the George Kelly case and we covered his trial a couple months ago. George Kelly is the Arizona rancher who defending his property against men in camouflage fatigues and camouflage dress were on his property with rifles. He went out to go out and address them, and being the, you know, in the spirit of the Western landowner, with his AK, he's an 80-year-old guy with his AK-47, goes out the door and addresses them. There's a shot put towards them, and he comes out the door of his house and takes his AK, and he sees the guys running this way. He goes like this. It goes boom, 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 boom. Fires a couple of warning shots in the opposite direction. And they go away. They run away. In the meantime, he dialed 911. And the Border Patrol, the Sheriff's Department, everybody came out to help him to make sure that the land was cleared. Later that day, George Kelly was patrolling his land and checking things out. And lo and behold, there's a dead migrant on his property. There's a guy wearing camouflage with a bullet hole in him. Now, they never found the other bodies. Yeah. But they did find the bodies of one guy. And he was charged with the murder of this guy. Now, initially, the prosecutors tried to say, oh, he was a poor guy from Honduras looking to go to Home Depot and get a job. No, he was a guy wearing camouflage and had a radio and water and binoculars and was likely working for some sort of human smuggling group or drug smuggling group. We don't know. Either way, George Kelly lived right on the border wall. His property, his ranch, was right where the border wall ended. He went to trial. The jury was out for multiple days, and they ended up deadlocked. 7-1 for not guilty on all counts. And from what we learned later on, in Arizona, he only got an 8-person jury. What we learned later on is that right away, all 7 people who said not guilty as soon as they walked in. Literally. It was 7-1 for multiple days in a row. And there was a hung jury and a mistrial declared. Well, there have been updates to that now, and there's some good news. There is some good news, chat. And this comes from what we can see here. And this is the Arizona Superior Court of Santa Cruz County. And what we see here is the state of Arizona versus George Allen Kelly. And it was from July 9th. And it's an order. And it says it's denying the state's motion to dismiss without prejudice. And it's granting the defense motion to dismiss with prejudice. Now, if you guys remember, we had attorneys. George Kelly had phenomenal attorneys. He had Brenna Larkin and he had Kathy Lothorpe. If you guys remember her, she was the attorney, had the nice Texas drawl, and they were just brilliant at what they did in their defense of George Kelly. And now it's dismissed with prejudice, meaning it's gone forever. It's done. And we talk about why did the judge grant that? Well, let's take a look at it. So the court previously granting the motion to dismiss following the mistrial. The remaining issue is whether the court should grant the state's motion to dismiss without prejudice, meaning the defense could come back later and charge him. He could still get charged. Remember, without prejudice, means it never goes away. And remember, George Kelly was charged with murder. So murder, and if they charge him again with murder, there's no statute of limitations on murder. Now, ideally, George Kelly is going to die before that would ever happen anyway, but it could happen. You just never know. And he says, for the reasons below, the state's motion is denied and the matter is ordered dismissed with prejudice. It was a 4-week trial, and the jury could not return verdicts on second-degree murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. So he was accused of murdering one person and accused of assaulting another person by shooting at them. And then they point out, nor was the jury able to reach verdicts on the state's requested lesser included offenses of manslaughter or negligent homicide. So even there, George Kelly, they couldn't agree on negligent homicide or manslaughter. Remember, it was 7-1. 7 of those jurors immediately said not guilty no matter what. 100% not guilty. And one of the jurors held out. So on April 29th, there was a status hearing, and we covered this. At that hearing, the state informed the court the state did not intend to retry the defendant. The state cited the unique circumstances and challenges surrounding this case. The state moved to dismiss the charges without prejudice. The court granted the motion, but upon objection from the defense, reserved ruling on whether dismissal should be with or without prejudice pending briefing and additional hearings. Now, the parties briefed the issue, and the court held a hearing on June 3rd, 2024. Now, I did not know that there was a hearing on June 3rd. I don't think we covered that one. I really wish I would have known about it, because that would have been a fun one to cover. And it does look like, if we go to the, when you go to look, there isn't anything else. So if you guys do want to watch the George Kelly trial, if you go to Santa Cruz County, Arizona, because there's Santa Cruz County, California, make sure you go to Arizona. They actually have here directly from the court, you can watch all of it. It's actually really good. And they do it on the court camera system, so you get like 4 different screens, kind of like how the Alec Baldwin trial goes right now. You get to see the parties talking, the judge, and the witness. And then there are a bunch of entries that you can get access to as well throughout this case. If you guys ever want to see anything that's been filed here, you can go through all of it. It's very, very interesting to read. We covered a lot of this during the trial and in the lead up to the trial. But now getting back to this, the applicable law. So on the state's motion and for good cause, the court may order a prosecution dismissed without prejudice if it finds the dismissal is not to avoid Rule 8 time limits. Well, and there are limits too, and there are time limits on having a trial in a reasonable amount of time. And, wait, did I get these in the right order? Okay. Yes. And they put out, regardless of a political situation or a change on preparatory rules. They talk about the multiple issues that occurred here. And I feel like I'm missing a page somewhere, Chad. Hold on. Did I miss a page? I feel like I did. Hold on here. No, we did not. Oh, yeah, we are. Where the heck did it all? Oh my God, whoever had this lost all the pages. Hold on, guys. I messed up here. All right. Actually, here we go, chat. We're going to switch over to this now. So we've got those two. The applicable law. We're going to use this here. This is far better. I found the better quality of what I was looking for. That's Shane says, is it a normal thing having hearings about whether it's without prejudice? I think in this situation, the judge wanted an additional hearing because this was a bit of a difficult case. This was a bit of a difficult case here. A bit of a different one. Why is the pages blue? I don't know. It reminds the people of Arizona of the lack of water they have, I think. I think that's what it's meant to be. Now, getting back to this. On a defendant's motion, the court must order a prosecutor's dismissal if it finds the indictment is insufficient as a matter of law. And I think, oh, you guys can't read that. Hold on. There we go. We'll have to go red. Okay. If the court grants a motion to dismiss, it must state the reasons. And the effect of a dismissal without prejudice, unless the court finds the interest of justice require the dismissal to be with prejudice. So a new trial, and this is the issue, must begin no later than 60 days at the entry of the court's order. So once the mistrial was declared, the prosecution had 60 days to get it going. So they would already had to have tried him again. If there is a Rule 8 violation, the court must dismiss the case, but the dismissal may be either with or without prejudice. And now they talk about the Rule 8 issues here. And there's also Sixth Amendment case law, because ultimately it's a speedy trial issue. Because it comes down to your Sixth Amendment speedy trial claims. They consider the length of the delay, the reason of the delay, and the defendant's assertion of his right, and the prejudice to the defendant. So it's not always immediate. And Barker v. Wingo is a Supreme Court case you will see quite frequently when you're dealing with speedy trial issues. That is something you have to argue all the time. So the determinative factor is whether the delay resulted in prejudice to the defendant. So going through this, there is a lot of issues here. The interest, and this is something that there is, and we've mentioned this before. If you keep getting hung juries, you can keep getting retried. If there's mistrials or mistrials or mistrial, theoretically, you could be tried forever. But there are times where you could make an argument it's done. We've done this far enough. And that includes the number of prior mistrials and the outcome of the jury's deliberations. The character of prior trials in terms of length, complexity, and similarity of evidence presented. And then the likelihood of substantial difference in a different trial. The court's own evaluation of the relative strength of each party's case. And then the professional conduct and diligence of particularly the prosecutor. But there's also the seriousness of the charged offense. The defendant's history, character, and condition. The purpose and effect of imposing a sentence authorized by the offense, and the impact of the dismissal on public confidence in the judicial system. There's a bunch of things they have to consider here. So we go forward. So they talk about the 60-day mistrial window. So the court further finds the dismissal and decision not to retry was made for the purpose of obtaining a tactical advantage over the defendant. The state acknowledged this during their June hearing. Well, at least they acknowledged they're scumbags. At that hearing, the prosecutor articulated the future developments that can make a retrial more viable. And there's a bunch of things that may change the state's case in the future. So the defendant could make incriminating statements in an interview, or he could write a book. The idea that there's magical witnesses that may come forward, the unknown witnesses. Yes, all the other Mexican gangbangers and cartel members that were involved in the shooting are all of a sudden going to turn up. The political decision may change and change the attitudes of the jurors. Yes. You kill all the boers and you kill all the farmers. The rule change that took away peremptory challenges may change, which would be to the state's benefit. So the Rule 8 violation was not accidental. They wanted a better opportunity to convict the defendant. The decision not to retry was not of necessity, like a witness is unavailable. Again, the decision was intended to delay so the state might have a greater advantage at some later date. As stated below, none of these things are likely to happen. He might make an incriminating statement. George Kelly said from the start he's innocent. He's never made a public statement to the contrary, and he refused to accept a plea offer. Him making an incriminating statement is speculative and highly unlikely. I agree. Unknown witnesses coming forward. Where the hell are you going to find them? This is a high-profile case. The prosecutors conducted an investigation with the cooperation of the Mexican government and the victim's family. Nobody else was identified. There was massive publicity on both sides of the U.S.-Mexican border. Moreover, the fact that the other guy who was walking with the dead man testified he was the only person walking with the victim. So what are they going to say? Remember, they said it was just the two of them. Well, who else is going to be a witness? The newly discovered witness would have other credibility challenges, like, why didn't you come forward earlier? And the possible taint due to, it's kind of convenient. You might be a liar. There's also a question whether the witness who, remember, they had to go to Mexico and get him because he was deported from trying to get into the U.S. too many times. He is a Honduran national with no legal status in the United States or Mexico. At trial, he testified he tried to get in the U.S. 10 times and had been deported or removed every time. There's just, it's not going to happen. The state did numerous search warrants looking for things on his property. Subpoenas were issued for every known source of evidence. A key piece of evidence remains missing, the bullet that killed the victim. Without the bullet, there's no reliable forensics to prove the defendant shot him. And that's true. There's nothing to prove that George Kelly did this. There's a dead guy with a bullet hole in him. But you don't know who shot him. And then the idea about the political situation changing. There's no basis to believe the jurors' opinions on the issues of, immigration, the border, and the use of firearms influence their assessment. The idea that Arizona's rule denying peremptory challenges is a reason to keep the case open. There's no basis that it'll ever happen. And there's no logic that restoring peremptory challenges would benefit the state over the defense. Under the prior rules, both sides had benefit from this. And there's no indication it would change. The jury was also demographically diverse. They had different ethnicities and ages. Although the jurors were not able to reach a unanimous verdict, they paid close attention and they deliberated at length. They have spoken post-trial. We know their 7-1 vote was for acquittal. There's no reasonable probability a different jury would ever come to a different result. There was also unable to reach results in the lesser and included offenses. The state's request for lesser included instructions was a tacit acknowledgement of the weakness of their evidence as to the charged offenses. And I love that part when I read this before. I made this statement before on the record in court, and I do that all the time. And I've been chided by courts for that. And prosecutors get they feign outrage. You point out, Your Honor, this is an admission the state's case sucks. They would ask for the lessers if they knew they didn't need them. If they believed in their case, they would let it ride on what they charged. But they didn't. And they're not. That's a shame saying, wait, is this the same judge who stormed off the bench while the defense was making an objection? Yep. Same judge. This is the same judge when the proffer is being offered. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Same judge. Yes, and we're gonna finish this up real quick, guys, and then we'll get to the super chat, some other informations. The more logical and reasonable reason for the jurors' vote for acquittal is the state simply failed to persuade the jurors of the defendant's guilt. The evidence was simply not there. That's him. The judge is like, you got nothing. You know, he said it. You got nothing, chat. You got nothing.
You're here because you got nothing. You got nothing in court. You don't got the bookkeeper. You got nothing. Nothing. And if you were a man, you would have done it now.
Yeah, they got nothing. Ain't got nothing. Yes, the judges basically tell him cope and sneed. And yes, I think ultimately the judge was very pissed off at the end of the day. This was the best you guys could put together. You know, you did all of this and this is the best you could do? I'm sure he was absolutely fucking livid. Absolutely fucking livid. Shane Chaser says George Kelly should have done the shoot, shovel, and shut up treatment. I mean, I wouldn't have, if I was George Kelly and I found a dead body in my property like that. I'm not going to lie. I would have just been like, oh, wow. Ooh, that sucks. I wouldn't have reported it. I wouldn't have said a damn thing. If the cops couldn't find it, I'm not going to show them. Hopefully the coyotes kill it, eat it up, and disappear it. And then you come back later and you're like, oh, wow, there's a skeleton here. That'd have been a far better thing. Just don't shoot, shovel, and shut up like that. You're right. Walk away. Just walk away from it. I would totally walk away. Oh. And there's no reason to believe another jury would come to a different conclusion. Finally, the defendant and his wife are 75 years old. They are in failing health. They are. The defendant has acknowledged he's experiencing senility and memory loss. It is widely recognized that age-related decline accelerates with time. A refiling these charges would place the defense at a significant disadvantage, as the ability of the defendant and his wife would be compromised. And you guys remember Meemaw Shark, his wife went up there. She was a nice little lady. She was so sweet. And then when the prosecutor started screwing with her, she tore that prosecutor a new asshole. So, in sum, the court finds the state has not decided to retry this case because another jury would not convict. At best, another hung jury would result. More likely, another jury would acquit. And I agree. The odds are you'll get an acquittal. Nor would the passage of time produce a different result. A rational and diversely assembled jury voted 7-1 for acquittal. There were many Hispanics on the jury. The reasons the state is given as why it wants the case dismissed without prejudice are illusory. They're not going to happen. And even if they did, they would not address the fundamental problems of proof of the state's case. You know, no future developments would change them. You know, the interests of justice are not served by dismissal for prejudice for a case that cannot and will not be retried. Because otherwise, George Kelly has to sit there every day with that thing just hanging over his head. I mean, that's enough to kill you. That'll put enough worry in your heart. Where there's no possibility that a retrial will occur is the harassment of the defendant. You know, for these reasons, the interest of justice called for finality. The motion to dismiss without prejudice is denied. The case is ordered dismissed with prejudice, dated July 9th. Thomas Fink, judge. So, Kim Hunley, she was the lead prosecutor. Then Brenna Larkin. She's the MMA fighter that was in George's corner. And I'm sure Kathy Lothorpe is going to get good news too. I mean, it's great news. I need to reach out to them, see if I can see what they have to say about this, because this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So there you go. Yeah, it's wow. Yep. And then we got to catch up here, chat. Skies in the Neighborhood is a new member. Thank you for the support. Let's go, Brandon. He's been a member for 8 months. Has said, Watching CNN is hilarious. I support Joe and Vice President Trump. I agree. Luke Blanche has been a member for 6 months, saying AOC is mad because her soulless ginger boyfriend has ED. Yeah, he's a weird looking dude. You know what though? He's like, maybe he's got like a freaking like a baby's arm holding an apple going on. I don't know. Maybe he's packing. Squizgar says for $5, I live in the middle of nowhere. If a drone is circling my house, it's getting ventilated. If a drone's circling you, you better be moving, because that's not a good sign. Kimbo says, I bought a shortwave radio for $250. Was I ripped off? I have no idea. I am not a radio guy. Daisy Girl Williams says, so thankful Kelly wasn't convicted. Me too. 100%. Kat Madison, his wife, is excellent at trial. I thought so too. I thought she was great. And Analytical T gifted 20 memberships. Thank you very much for your support. And thank you for the generosity there. And then Analytical T again for 20 more subs. Thank you. Like, let's go, chat. That's right, Grace. Keep moving. This is a green neighborhood. Thank you, Analytical. And yes, Ag, in other words, the state sucked. Yes. Afix says, to quote Judge Fink, cope and sneed. Yes. Luke Pearson said, it's almost like this judge was super defense friendly, except for that one moment. See, I don't think he was. I think he was overall pretty fair, but I think he made a couple of decisions I highly disagreed with. I think he gave the state a little bit too much leeway in certain spots. But I think he must, I don't know if his logic was, oh my God, the state's case is so fucking horrible. I'll give it to him. And then if they do get the conviction, I'll overturn it. I don't know what he was going to do. But I didn't have confidence he was pro-defense there, really. And then Johan Naxos is saying, Death Angle Shadow, I typically run my Mars modded FT991A, but I have an 891 and a Flex 3000. Oh my God. Ham nerds! Run, chat! Hit the ham nerds! Run! Save yourself! I can't help you. I can't help you. I can't help myself. They're here, chat. We're toast. Actually, I think ham radio is kind of a neat thing. I need to go like take the test. And that's a neat thing, guys. If you do want to take the ham radio test, you can actually study online. Like they have the materials online. You can go take the test at, various amateur radio clubs. It's worth it to get your like basic license. Can we hit the 100 sub Clyde goal? Yes. Sean, move on to Tam stuff. Yes. J-Rock's been a member for 10 months, says, let's fucking go. Ag says, we have radio foamers in chat. Run! Yes. Luke says, my man granted spousal privilege as statements Wanda gave the cops post-arrest out of whole cloth. There are things he did that I thought were fine. Like I said, he gave them some good breaks. But some of the shit he let the state do, like some of these statements and I would argue the involuntary nature of things, statements Wanda made, they should have been suppressed. Now, maybe that was his way of allowing it, giving in hindsight, being like, I should have suppressed those. And then he protected them with spousal privilege. But the way George and Wanda were treated at the police station, I think violates, there are Miranda issues there, that these statements were not voluntary and were heavily coerced, given the treatment they suffered. No mandate says suffer government. Suffer. EDW Raptor says a foamer making fun of the ham nerds. Classic. Yes. Homegirl Basic Female says, my hubby is into it. Lol. Katie says, I love honey ham. That's not the ham we're talking about. J-Rock says, can I take the ham test online? No. You have to go to you have to go and take it in person. Oh, no. Yes. Jeff N4 POD says you asked for it. Oh, I'm gonna. If you didn't know who I am, I'd broadcast on the ham frequency just to piss you off. Go boop. Does ham require continuing education? You need to recertify after a while, but you can also get. There's like 3 levels of ham radio licensing. Benjamin Lewis says, I just use my radio to make sure Taco Bell can hear my order properly. Agbot Kevin says John Cook was the individual that was arrested in relation to the what the hell stuff. Otto, what are you guys talking about? I missed something. Did I miss something with the what the fails? I don't know. Those guys are pud whackers. CEs are continuing education. I think you have to recertify every once in a while. Johan saying you could study for your test on apps and online. You have to take a test with an examiner. Yeah. Corey for $5 saying watching on a delay, but the ham call sign WS3S. You're saying have fun with the Balfang. Yes. And that's the thing, guys. You do get, if you ever see people with like license plates and it's a little it's like kind of jumbled numbers and letters, that's their ham ID. And people know each other through their ham IDs. And when they meet, you're like, hey, you're WS3S. I mean, and that's true. High Plays Drifter says, no, you can't have the ham call sign El Barto. You can take the ham test online? Really? There are good practice places online. Yes, there are. Quite a few. Luke says, of course, but he got smacked multiple times by the appeal courts for being pro-defense. And see, if I was Judge Fink, I would be like very much like, fuck you. I should be pro-defense. I should be anti-state. Corey says, I'm extra class. Yes. That's the highest one. I know that. And then Jeff's saying it's technician, general, and extra. Okay, there you go. Kitty's like, nerds. KJ says, remember to keep on guard frequency for maximum reach. Do not do that, ever. That's not a good idea. Never do that. Never do that, chat. And don't go onto the NOAA frequencies to try to broadcast or airport VORTAC repeaters. Because if you have a Balfang that's kind of unregulated, you can do a lot of that stuff. Don't do it. I really mean it. Kimbo says, my broadcast is me just saying different slurs every 60 seconds. There are some funny videos of people recording. There's this one I saw on YouTube like years ago where some guy was recording it and there's 2 people talking. One of them's from Germany and he's trying to talk. He's got a really bad German accent. I mean, it's a really thick German accent. And some guy on the other end talking to him was like, oh, you like Hitler? Yes, I like Hitler too. Yes, Hitler. And the German guy got so mad. You're not allowed to do that. You're supposed to be very respectful and acting like an adult online. Oh, there's no recertification? Oh, I thought you had to renew your license every 10 years. But yeah, I thought that's... Yeah. And there are good ham channels on YouTube, yes. And Luke, we are going to move to that next. We're going to move to that next. What's the grinder frequency? Oh. How about a license plate with an ooh? I'm pretty sure there's already license plates with ooh in most states. Benjamin says, I can vouch that the U.S. Coast Guard chopper radio sounds like it's 5,000 watts. Oh, I bet. Kind of class says, I'd set up a fake number station. Well, even better is when you listen to like the emergency accent messages that go out, like, you know, like Sky King, do not answer. And it's like nuclear test, like drill protocols being run. Or you'll hear like Mainstay, Pinnacle. And you're like, uh-oh, that's a real one. Those are really neat to listen to. So we call them steamed hams. No, actually, the name for them is they're called sad hams. Most ham operators aren't bad. But yeah, if you ever want to listen to those emergency accent messages the U.S. Air Force is like doing to the bombers that are out running drills and shit, it's crazy. That's a shame. It says there's a whole community of emergency siren stabs. Yeah, there's. I know that for a fact. There's a bunch of emergency like siren guys. You know, are all about the wee woo. Yeah, there's a whole one. There's a whole one there. EDW Raptor gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. J-Rock, like, play one. Have you never heard one before? I mean, I guess I'll pull one up real quick. See if there's a quick one. Okay. Yeah, here we go. All right, hold on. Let's see if this is a good one to listen to. All right, hold on here, Chad. I got to find a good one. Hold on. These all suck. Where the hell did it go? There's some good ones. Yeah, here you go, Chad. Here's a good one. Here's a good example of what these sound like. These are all drills, but like every once in a while, these are real.
Whiskey, Ava, Bravo, India, Bravo, Hotel, Papa, Whiskey, Ava, message followed. Bravo, India, Bravo, Hotel, Papa, Whiskey, Oscar, Zulu, Charlie, Romeo, Tango, Bravo, Whiskey, Charlie, Bravo, Tango, Romeo, Charlie, India.
Now, what you're hearing are the codes being sent out and their authentication and challenge codes for strategic crews to verify.
Alpha, Quebec, Kilo, Quebec, India, 3, Bravo, Delta, 2.
And these things get really ominous at times. People have recorded really good versions of them, and it's like, Sky King, do not answer. And they transmit stuff out, and it's not meant for you to respond. It's meant like you're in a B-52 and you're flying, and it's like, copy down the codes, and you check your code book, and it says recall, or it might say launch authorized, or it might say proceed to the next point. You'll get a code again, proceed to the next point, and then it'll say go nuke Beijing or something like that. That's how those things work. Some of these are fucking creepy when you've heard like the whole way through them, because you're like, they just practiced a nuclear weapons release. Snake says, why are they not encrypted? Because the codes themselves are encrypted on the thing. They're broadcasted like ultra high frequency in the clear, because that way they can make sure they get to where they need to go. Yes, that's actually the next code is Go bomb that Iraqi wedding. So there we go. We're going to move on from there. We're going to move on from there to where is the next thing? Richard Allen. We haven't talked about Richard Allen in a while. The long story short, Richard Allen is still getting screwed by Judge Gull. Judge Gull has been a huge flaming asshole. If you guys don't remember, Richard Allen is accused of murdering the 2 girls in Delphi, Indiana. None of the evidence supports any of this. And Judge Gull is the judge who tried to kick the 2 attorneys off the case. The Supreme Court of Indiana slapped her PP and said, no, you're violating the Constitution. Put him back on. And in the meantime, Judge Gull has acted like a big fucking asshole. Yes, you could call her a big cunt. I would, but I'm also not an attorney licensed in Indiana, so I can call her that. She has denied every motion that the defense has put forward. She has basically caused, this trial was set to go in May, and because she had fucked up things so bad, the trial has now been pushed back to October. Sadly. Richard Allen is doing better. The dangerous conditions he was in at the one prison system where he was basically dying slowly and losing his mind, apparently he's getting better and getting better. But there's still a long way to go. And this case has a lot of twists and turns. Well, the big thing that got filed today, and this is actually something worth looking at, is what his attorneys filed. And we're going to start getting back into what's going on with Richard Allen because he deserves everybody out there taking notice again. Especially Karen Reed's over. And they set for a determination whether there's been a ruling beyond a time limitation set forth under the trial rules in Indiana. So basically what this means is they're saying Judge Gull is dragging her feet. And there are rules they can use where another judge takes a look at what's going on and they could say, yeah, she's fucking sandbagging it. And because of that, we're going to kick her off the bench and we'll put a new judge on the case, which would benefit Richard Allen a lot, having a non-psychopathic retard, getting somebody who's not a retard and not a psychopath on his case. And here's the interesting part. Upon filing by the interested party of a precipice, specifically designating the motion or decision delayed, the clerk of the court shall enter the date and time of the filing of the precipice, record the filing of the chronological case summary, and then it will include the date and time of the filing of the precipice and promptly forward a copy of it to the Chief Administrative Officer of the Indiana Office of Judicial Administration. So Richard Allen is an interested party because he's the defendant. Now, what are they looking at here? Well, there's a couple of different things they're looking at, and they're challenging why Judge Gull's being an asshole. On March 13th, he filed a third Franks notice, and a Franks notice is because the evidentiary issues that the police have done, that there have been destroyed, tainted, and lost evidence. Remember, guys, they have lost entire interviews. Notes don't exist anymore. The first couple months of their investigation the police did are gone. That they may have interviewed people who were prime suspects, and they haven't, and they're gone now. Or that they didn't interview some people at all. There are things there. And they point out that this motion was not repetitive as it contained completely new allegations and new information that weren't the previous motions. On April 29th, they filed a fourth Franks motion. This one was not repetitive as it had new information. On May 7th, the court issued a pleading indicated the defendant's third and fourth Franks hearings will be ruled upon and not set for hearing unless necessary. It's been 119 days since the third one was filed. It's been 72 since the fourth one was filed. And it's been 64 days since the court claimed it would be ruling on the third and fourth motions. Now, what happens every time we get these? Judge Gull immediately goes up to it and says, well, and she goes, denied. That's all she does. Denied, bam. You're like, wait, is there anything really there? She goes, nope, you guys are full of shit. Denied. Hella is saying, Hella, how you doing? Excited utterance, guys. Hearsay for days. Every Sunday at 4 p.m. EST. Rick is even more innocent than Sarah Boone. No, Richard Allen is more innocent than Karen Reed is. Richard Allen is more innocent than Karen Reed is. So, and yes, remember, don't go talk to the cops. Richard Allen talked to the cops, and that's why he's in jail. That's why he's been in jail for almost 2 years now. Don't fucking talk to the police. Okay? So he's, and we, where are we at here? So, yes. So here's the motions. It's been over 100 days since the one motion's been filed. And it's been 2 months the court made a rule, said and make a ruling. And because of that, and it's funny because the defense points out that they filed a motion to recuse on May 17th. And the judge denied it on May 31st. And that totaled 14 days. Even after the 14 days on which the judge could not rule on any other motions due to the recusal motion. And that's true. When you file a motion to recuse, everything stops. And she ruled on that motion. Okay, cool. Why have you been, what have you been doing the last 2 months? She had all of June, and now we're like 2 weeks into July. What are you doing, Judge Gull? These are, the 14 days are not factored in. And both of the Franks motions would still fall significantly outside the time requirements mandated under the trial rules. And the trial rules state in the event a court fails for 30 days to set a motion for hearing or fails to rule on it within 30 days after it was heard or 30 days after it was filed, upon application by an interested party, the submission of the cause may be withdrawn from the trial judge and transferred to the Supreme Court for appointment of another judge, which is really what should happen here. There are no hearings required of the motions related to the third and fourth Franks motions, but the court has still not ruled on them, even though the 30 days have passed. It should also be noted it took the court 127 days to rule on the first Franks motion, filed in September 2023, and ruled upon January 22nd. And it finally only ruled on that motion only 4 days after the defense attorneys were reinstated. Remember, it was in January when the Supreme Court of Indiana said, Judge, put them back on. And remember, the hearing was at 11 o'clock in the morning. They had oral arguments at 11 a.m. And by 2 p.m. that afternoon, less than 3 hours later, the Supreme Court of Indiana said, you done fucked up. So, and by the point they got back on the case and they entered their appearance, it took her 4 days to deny the motion. And this is before the defense counsel had an opportunity to file a motion in this situation because she kicked them off the case. And the defense counsel is requesting the clerk of the court send this all along and execute all of this to the executive director of the state court administration. If they determine that a ruling has been delayed beyond the limitations set forth, they have to give written notice to the trial judge of the cause and then to the clerk of the Indiana Supreme Court that the case has been withdrawn from the judge. And then they say the chief administrative officer shall submit the case to the Supreme Court of Indiana for appointment of special judge or such other action deemed appropriate. And that means like they could do other things like dismiss a case, but guys are not going to do that. But they'll get a new judge, which is what they need. So this is where he talks about the prayer for relief. When you see wherefore, this is a prayer for relief. And the petitioner by counsel pursuant to the trial rules requests his precipice for a determination whether a ruling has been delayed and requests the clerk of the court to enter. And this is where you're asking about a filing, but then you're also saying, I want you to do the thing. Null says undo the thing that happened. Well, in this case, you're asking for the clerk of court to enter the date and time and send it. And then they want the executive director of the state court administration to select a special judge. And for all their just and proper relief. And this is signed by Andrew Baldwin, one of the attorneys. Remember, we got Baldwin and Rosie. Those two pipe hitters out there beating on the state of Indiana. Those guys are kicking ass. I really like the dairy case. I wish Sean would cover it. I don't know what you're talking about. Send me an email. I'll take a look at it if you send me some information. Shugi Show is saying, my big thing about Richard Allen is even if he were guilty, there's no way he could have done everything he did by himself. His lawyers made up a long filing while the timeline didn't add up. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Very much. MLS God of Law. David, how are you doing, man? Says all cops suck. Well, yeah, pretty much all of them do, but there's some that don't suck too bad, and those are usually ones who quit being cops. Is she the only judge in that county? Well, Delphi County, Carroll County, Indiana, is a county with one judge in it. But she is from the neighboring, she's from outside, and the judge in the county where the girls got murdered, he recused himself. He's like, I can't do it. So the Supreme Court of Indiana assigned a judge to come in. And it happened to be Judge Gull, who is a complete scumbag. So, and yeah, guys, there are a lot of people fighting for Richard Allen, and we hope he keeps going now. I mean, I hope we need to get back into this. And Mofolk over on Rumble is saying she's a mega cunt. Yes. And over in locals, Demon's Wrath says, don't tell me I'm first. And then Bear Man Cow says, I won't. Oh, chat. You guys are something else. So, yeah, once again, nothing but love going out to Richard Allen. I hope he's acquitted of this and gets to walk among the righteous again sooner rather than later. He has been far too long. And it's, yeah. Luke says Richard Allen is more innocent than George Kelly. Yeah, I think those guys are both pretty innocent. They're about equal. But yes, Richard Allen's case, guys, is like Karen Reed's on steroids. And if you guys have not followed me, if you follow me only since Karen Reed, Richard Allen makes Karen Reed's case look like fucking Disneyland. I mean, it is small town corruption on a significant scale. And then you've got a bunch of these homosexual Norse Odin worshipers who they hide Odin's spear in each other's asses. I don't know if they really do that, but it sounds like that's what they do because they're like, we're pagans. I worship Odin's spear. I'm sure that's what they do in the woods. But 2 girls were murdered and the police basically covered it all up. And if they didn't cover it up, their investigation is more pathetic than Karen Reed's. And this one had FBI involvement from the start and the Indiana State Police helping from the start. That's how it's really bad, chat. It's really, really bad if you haven't seen it. Stick around with us because this summer we're going to get back on it because Richard Allen needs that. He needs that help out there. He needs more people. He needs more people. Cat Madison says, can they rule? And this is the thing. This is one of the great examples of what Judge Gull did for Richard Allen. The defense attorneys, they're now court appointed because there's no, they're court appointed attorneys. Richard Allen has no money. They said, Judge, can we get experts? You know how often that happens? All the time. On a double murder? Oh, you're going to get all kinds of experts. You know what the Judge Gull said? Nope. No experts for you. Denied. And Richard Allen had to raise money to get those experts. That's part of the thing. God, and she was going to make him go to trial with no experts. This woman has done so many horrible things. But Kat, that is a great example of some of the shit this judge has done. No, not even worse than Solo Cups, Mavka. They completely lost evidence. This is a murder from 2017. Entire hard drives worth of interviews are gone. Did you guys take notes? Nope. They're like, well, what'd you do? Oh, dur. That's their answer. That's a shame, says a witness in one of our trials swore her oath to Odin, Lamau. Well, and that's why you see normally nowadays when they swear people in, it's like, do you swear under the pain of, do you swear or affirm under the pain or penalty of perjury that everything you say will be truthful, or that you'll uphold the rules as a juror? You're affirming that I promise, because making people swear, they feel in a religious thing there. And yes, a witness in one of our trials swore out the Odin. You should, it's like, what a fucking loser. I want to be different. Katie says you should represent him. Katie, I appreciate that, but the amount of people, the two attorneys, Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rosie, that he's got representing him, those guys are doing him good. They are fighting the good fight, and they are tenacious. You know, yeah, I'd be able to have the tenacity, but I don't have the experience, and they have the experience and the tenacity. And besides, I think I could do more good out here screaming about how big of a cunt Judge Gull is and drawing attention to the case than I could by helping them. But yeah, Richard Allen is in good hands. I can tell you that much. I'm very confident in the attorneys representing him. Also, the other attorneys like Kara Weinke, she's the one we had on a couple months ago. She was discussing the issues about getting Richard Allen in front of the Indiana Supreme Court with his writ of mandamus. So there are a lot of good attorneys out there fighting in his corner. I will say that much. I'm very impressed by the defense bar in the state of Indiana. They are just jumping in and looking for a fight, which is really cool to see. Yeah, better get Barnes. Jesus Christ, that would be. And Richard Allen he better off hanging himself if Barnes jumped in the case. I would swear to Tinkerbell. Well, the dog in my pick is named Odin. Well, that's okay to name your dog Odin. I'm just saying, like, people are like, I believe in Odin as my god. It's like, do you really? And no, it's not a writ of Matt Damon. Hold on here. That's a shame. What are you guys talking about here? Do you know if this is her history of being a cunt or is something new about this case? No, it sounds like from what I've been able to piece together, she's kind of a big floppy, nasty cunt in general. She doesn't grant motion. She's very pro-state. She's a very shitty judge in that regard. And it's funny. She is denying, and here's the best part. Shows you how big of a cunt she is and a dick. She is part of a Supreme Court of Indiana task force and a working group that put forth, we need cameras in courtrooms. And guess what she did? No cameras in my courtroom, not for this trial. Well, their turkey gizzard flapping in the air. Denied. She's denied every request from the press to televise pre-trials or even the trial. That's how big of a fucking scumbag she is. I'm a Norse phobe. No, I'm just a good Christian. You know, and these gay pagan gods. That's right. I said they're gay. Dry Boke says, your God was nailed to a cross. My God carries a big hammer. Yeah, my God can't die. They tried to kill my God and they failed. Kimmy Joe says, what if I saw the actual murder and can't get anyone to listen to me? Oh, that'd be interesting. Yes, Jesus lives. Yes, he does, always. Thor dresses a woman. Yeah. Tranny gods, tranny Norse gods, brave and yes. Yes, KLF says Andrea Burkhart will be in the courtroom. Yes, she will. 100% she will. Also, Bob Mata from Defense Diaries, which I was on with Publicly Buzzed last weekend. And that was really cool. I got to hang out with Bob. I hadn't done that before. Bob's an awesome guy. So is his wife, Ali Mata. They do Defense Diaries, their husband and wife defense team. If you guys ever get a chance, they've been covering Richard Allen too. They've been covering the shit out of Karen Reed as well. I think I don't know if they're going back to Richard Allen right away, but I definitely am. So SB Seller says you're going to end up in front of her now. Don't drive through Delphi. Well, she presides at Fort Wayne. I don't care. It's like, Mr. Martin, I heard you called me a cunt. Yes, Judge, you are a fucking cunt. I'll say it on the record. You're here for a speeding ticket. 5 days in jail. Okay, fine, cunt. It's 30 now. Like, whatever, cunt. Jeff is saying we need cameras in courtrooms, all courtrooms. Yes. Every courtroom? Every single courtroom? Every courtroom?
Everyone!
Every courtroom. Every courtroom. So, yes. That's the Richard Allen update for right now, guys. And, yeah, let's hope there's some good news coming at some point. But for right now, we're kind of waiting. We're kind of waiting. Benjamin Lewis says, Sean, in light of Kerry, defense attorney, taking this case as prosecutor, if you were asked to prosecute Baldwin, would you do it? I mean, I think I would take, if they asked me to be a special prosecutor and I thought there was probable, like, yeah, I think I would, but I think the way she's doing it is not right. I think there's better ways she could do it. I think she's been fucking, I think it's a personality issue too. Like she's getting goaded into fucking with, like, Spiros is fucking with her, which that's his job. Alex his job is to fuck with Carrie and mind fuck her and mind fuck the case. And she's letting him do it. But yeah, I think so, because at the end of the day, he's pointing. You don't point guns at people. There's a reason why if me and you were standing in a room and I picked up a gun off the table, oh yeah, hey man, it's unloaded. And I started going like this, click, click, click. Are you going to sit there and be like, that's okay? You know, you're going to be like, don't do that. You're going to move out of the way. Stop pointing that at me. Don't pull the trigger. Relax. It's not boom. Oh, I thought it was unloaded. I thought it was okay to do that. That's why you don't do it. That's why you don't do it. But yes. The most banned queen says, baffles my brother why I get invested in these cases. Reed and Allen are why. Also, years ago, I matched the description of a white woman wanted for theft. I could have easily been wrongly arrested. And the most banned queen again for $1 over on Rumble is saying, and who knows? Also, guys, that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to, I guess I'll tell you the secret. If you're on Rumble and you do a Rumble rant, you could do $1 and you can, like, type forever. You get to type the same amount on all of them. It's just how long they stay on screen. And who knows how soon the police would have related. Oh yeah, your alibi checks out. The police also asked me about my whereabouts without a lawyer and asked for my ID. I foolishly answer their questions. Shake my head. Yeah, well, now you know. Now you know, and knowing's half the battle. That's what's important now. You know now. Yes, Dolly and Heller are going on Publicly Buzz Saturday. Yes. Yes. Kimmy Joe says, I've seen the guy who was on the flyer and called the cops, but he slipped away. Like, Kimmy, are you 100% serious? Like, if you are 100% serious, you should reach out to Baldwin and Rosie. 100%. I'm serious about that. That's a shame, says Marcus Dansby is the other case she did this on. Ah, so she does really have a true out there. Okay. 2.0 said you hated prosecuting. I did. I didn't like how things had to be done. I'm not saying that they were bad. It wasn't my thing. But for like Alec Baldwin, like I assume Carrie Morrissey pretty much has free reign to do as she wishes. She could plea him out to disorderly conduct right now or littering. She would probably have the authority as special prosecutor to say, Alec Baldwin, I'll let you plea out to a noise complaint because you shot the gun. It was really loud. Or you heard some, having a stereo too loud, shooting a gun, a noise complaint. I'm sure she could do that. And if I had that kind of authority, yeah, I probably would enjoy it because I could resolve the case how I thought necessary. Yes, only if I can grift it as well. Yes. Robert Chalk says, they, parenthesis. Oh. But warning shots are legal in Ohio. Like I said, we covered that case. I'd still be really, because I've had people talk to me about that. I'm like, I'd be really fucking careful still about warning shots. Katie says, oh shit, Sean just lost a ton of money. How? Because everybody's going to do Rumble rants. I was just telling the truth. J-Rock says, whether or not Alec Baldwin gets convicted, F him, let the process be the punishment. Well, if he truly is innocent, which I don't think he is based on the facts, but, it's regardless of him being an asshole and an insufferable human being. Remember, we have to treat the biggest pieces of shit with the same rights in the same way. Do I think ultimately, though, Alec Baldwin, and it sounds like the jury's been pretty fair. They're being pretty just focusing on the evidence, not on him. 2.0 also said you hated food. Well, that's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie. Apparently that's, yeah, I hate it so much I have to get rid of it all. Gypsy faded. I've been swept by a firearm twice. Both were being handled by libs. I've been muzzle swept with a gun a lot of fucking times. I don't like it. I was in court once and the prosecutor muzzle swept me once with a pistol. He was holding it and he turned and it was in my face and I pushed it away. I was like, please don't do that. And the judge also said, yes, please pay attention. He told the prosecutor, he's like, Mr. Prosecutor, please muzzle down or muzzle up. He said, I prefer muzzle down. Yes, I hate the process. I'm a loose cannon, a hair trigger, a box of matches, and a house of tinder. Yes. Yes, Winter Soldier says he did litter in that church. He littered it with Helena Hutchins' blood. Kat says, can you tell the toe sucker story again? At some point in the future, we will. We can't tell it all the time because then it gets really old. I got to save it. So let's catch up to where we are here, guys. I'm wearing a yarmulke. I just don't show that part of my head. I mean, unless it's white, it ain't there. Look, see? Oh, there we go. My hair's... Oh, the hair was sitting nice till you made me take this off. Okay. So what do we got left here? We got to catch up. George Kelly dismissed. Okay. Yes. All right. So this was an interesting one that happened. Speaking of federal judges, we were going to get to this. And we got some time. Oh, it's 11:54. We got to get on our horse and go. So the United States District Court of Alaska. Alaska only has one district in it. And you see from Judge Joshua Kindred, district judge. He's only 41 years old and was appointed back in 2020. Accept this letter as formal notice of my resignation from my position as district court judge for the District of Alaska. My date will be effective Monday, July 8th. Not like, oh, I'm going to retire in 6 months. And why does he have to tell Joe Biden? Because Joe Biden has to appoint another federal judge to fill that spot. Okay. Well, a lot of people saw this and were like, A lot of people saw this and they went like, that doesn't seem right. He's only 4 years in. Why would he give this up? It's a good gig. And you can get away with doing whatever the fuck you want, really, as a federal judge. Like, I want to take more time off. You know, you can spend more time with your family. You can kind of fuck around with things. It's hard to lose your job as a federal judge. Well, a lot came out, and this is just very big yikes territory. So, from the judicial conduct and disability complaint, yeah, that's not a good start. This is not a good start, chat. Judicial conduct and disability complaint. All right. So what happened? Well, what had happened was Judicial Council of the Ninth Circuit filed an order in certification, an in re complaint of judicial misconduct number 22-90121 on May 23rd, 2024, concerning an official claim of misconduct against Judge Joshua M. Kindred of the District of Alaska. Now, remember, the Ninth Circuit covers Alaska, so that's why it's here. This order is now being made public pursuant to United States Code and in consultation with Judicial Conference of the United States. The Judicial Conference of the United States oversees the federal judges, all federal judges. So the order of certification is a result of a thorough investigation conducted by a special committee. In its order, the council concluded, among other things, that Judge Kindred engaged in misconduct by creating a hostile work environment for his law clerks and by having inappropriately sexualized relationship with one of his law clerks. You can't bang your law clerks, chat. You're a judge. You can't fuck your clerks. Both during her clerkship and after she became an assistant U.S. attorney. You can see why that's a problem. Even though she did not appear in any case before him while she was employed as a U.S. attorney. You can still see why that's a problem. And you can see the issue of your law clerk, you doinking your law clerk. Yeah. Doesn't work too well. K-Hall09 over on Rumble says, Copensteed, 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 love Katie. Thank you, Katie. That'll be a fun short. That'll be a fun clip. In the order of certification, Judicial Council publicly reprimanded and admonished Judge Kindred for his conduct, which followed the Judicial Conduct and Disability Act and the Code of Conduct for U.S. Judges. Judicial Council also requested that Kindred voluntarily resign and the certified managed Judicial Conference of the United States to consider impeachment. It's like he could still be impeached. I mean, we learned that about Trump. You could be impeached after you're out of office. Remember, that's how you get rid of a federal judge, is through impeachment. So they're recommending impeachment, and they're also recommending he resigned. Kindred resigned effective immediately Monday, the 8th. The Judicial Conference will continue to consider the matter, including certification with respect to impeachment. Yeah. Yes. He's laying down the law, yeah. Access of the law clerk's hot, at least, just trying to gather all the facts here. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how hot they were. You still shouldn't do it. Cyberpunk says, I believe your honor was coped in seething. Yes. Do we have the law clerk in our pictures now? No. Yes, and Mofolk says over on Rumble, yes, he fucked around, literally. Yes. And the lead attorney says they all be fucking each other. So there's that. And that's true. Everybody be fucking all the time. I mean, you know, you watch Grey's Anatomy and it's just nurses and doctors humping and fucking all the time. You'd think like they would have gotten MRSA in one of the episodes. Like, you know, MRSA all over your junk, or some chick ends up with a MRSA all up in her cooch. That never happens on the show, and it's like MRSA's all over the hospitals. It should happen. He got disrobed, literally. KJ says, I can't believe these hoes talked. Well, it's kind of bad. Super Wiener says, I'm not a judge, so is it free reign? Yes. If you're not a judge, you can go bang a law clerk. Iowan Lawman says, I think I'm doing Drek's voice like, listen. Shot. If the clerk is like a 10 out of 10 Victoria's Secret model, then I'd understand. I mean, even then, is it worth losing like the cushiest fucking job you can have for a piece of ass? I'm like, I don't know. It's like Jim says. Was it worth it? I don't think so. Will this be considered ex parte? No. J-Rock says, and we call him honorable. Yes. Yes. Did he wear a mask? I don't know. Captain Chromo says, hot single law clerks in your area wanting to meet you. Click here. And Kat saying, I resign. He should have said, I resign as of July 8th. And yeah, I banged her. Well, remember, they might impeach him still. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I would not recommend that. So, Jack Riley says, judicial Baldo order when? I don't, oh God, I don't know. I don't know if I want to know that. Oh. Don't know if I want to know that. All right, guys. Other news, Andrew Tate, the top G, the toppest of the Gs. Well, he's been stuck in Romania on his charges of various things, including basically sticking women in their cam farm. And he's been stuck in Romania, and you know, what better place to face like charges of rape and human trafficking than a place like Romania, where they probably throw you in a really shitty prison. So he's been stuck in Romania, but as of recently, he is allowed to leave Romania. That's the interesting thing. He's finally allowed to leave Romania while waiting trial. So we've... Oh, Guardian, why is this thing popping up again? He's allowed to leave Romania, but he has to stay within Europe. That's the situation for him. Yeah, speaking of dicks, yeah. What color is your Bugatti, Sean? I don't have to worry about impressing what kind of Bugatti I have to the guy who thinks that a hot tranny is okay. He'd rather have a hot tranny than a 4. He actually said that once. So, he will now be permitted to travel within the EU without restrictions while waiting trial. He's been accused of rape, human trafficking, and forming a criminal gang to exploit women. So, pending a ruling on his appeal, whether or not they can even have a trial, they've been banned from leaving Romania, but now they're allowed to travel around. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Now, the neat thing is he's British. He's British. With the weirdest fucking accent ever. He can't go to the EU because Britain's not in the EU anymore. So, they are also dual U.S. citizens. And the reason why it's interesting about Britain right now is even funnier. He's accused of being a tax cheat out of Britain, which, I mean, really, like, don't paying taxes, pretty based. What color is your Bugatti? Answer the question, Sean. It's translucent. It's got a cloaking device. You'll never see it. My car can break the Matrix. Yeah. My British accent, yes. Bawa. Anyway, they're accused of being serial tax evaders, which, according to who? A local police in Britain. So they've been accused of failing to pay 21 million pounds. 21 million pounds sterling. Chat, they deprived the king of 21 million pounds. 2 local police forces are bringing a civil claim. And they're accused of paying no tax on any country, in their online business between 2014 and 2022. Now, I know that U.S. is the only country where, as a U.S. citizen, if you're outside the U.S. and you earn money, you have to pay taxes onto the U.S. I think pretty much every other country allows you to pay the taxes where you're making the money. So how the hell do they know these guys weren't paying taxes in Romania? I don't know. But they're saying that the Tate brothers are serial tax and value-added tax evaders. And they call it value-added tax. That's a sales tax, basically. That's what they call it in Europe. He's claiming, though, when I lived in England, I refused to pay tax. Well, and that's a bit of a problem when you tell everybody, yeah, I didn't do it, top G's. Yes. The court heard he said his approach was ignore, because in the end they go away. Well, they generally don't. But yes, you can't not pay a VAT. Well, I don't know. The cops are saying you didn't pay it. I don't know. I don't know about Britain. You have to pay a tax for a fucking TV. You have to have a license to have it. Like, no, chat. If you don't know this, in Britain, you have to have a TV license. You have to have a license. You buy a TV, you have to pay a license for it. And like they have detection equipment, and they fine you if you have TVs and you're not paying tax. Like, it's a real fucking thing. It happens. Like, I shit you not. Yes, and I said VAT is a version of a sales tax. I already said that. I already fucking said that. So you guys just ignored me 2 minutes ago. I don't know how they're not doing it, but who knows? Maybe, I don't know. The police are saying the money for bank accounts, including OnlyFans, have been washed around through a number of UK bank accounts. As well as owning extensive land property vehicles in Romania, the Tate spent their money on fast cars and property. Based. I mean, fuck the government. Good for them on that. Human trafficking rate, not so much, but the not paying taxes, I got you. That is top G shit right there. Hella says, apparently here you get credits back for your U.S. taxes. That's nice. Yeah, lithium mic. Yes, you need a license for TVs. 100%. You can own kitchen knives there, but yeah, there's. Yeah, so you got a license for that knife, mate. Dry Bulk says only if you watch live TV. Yeah, but they do fine people for not having a TV license. J-Rex says, we've ignored you for far more than 2 minutes, sir. Look, good for you. Kimbo says they were probably selling products and not collecting the sales tax. I agree. That's probably how they weren't doing it. That's the only way it makes sense. Hella says, but you're still too frightened to come here. Yes, because all the goddamn spiders. Oh my God. Yes, I'm not coming. I'm not coming to fucking Australia. I'll go to New Zealand because it seems pretty safe. Also, New Zealand's got Neil the Seal. If you watch TikTok, he seems pretty funny. Cat Madison said, I'm so glad I gave him my UK membership. Benjamin says, new law to have a license here in Arkansas to be a fishing guide, $250. Holy shit. That's a lot. Jack Riley says, why are you afraid of spiders? Because I'm fucking terrified. I don't know. I've always been afraid of spiders. And it's funny. My dad's afraid of them, but like, I'm even like more afraid of them. Like, I am fucking scared of spiders, like truly scared. And I don't know why. It's the same reason why we watch those guys in like Eastern Europe climbing on the edges of buildings. The bottoms of my feet sweat. Like literally, they will start sweating. Like when I first met 2.0 and we were watching like crazy like during COVID and we were kind of stuck. And you watch, Steve 1989 MRE videos and stuff. I was like, hey, check this out. And she was like watching the people climb. And I'm like, hey, check my feet. And I rubbed my feet against her feet. She's like, you really are sweating. I was like, yeah, it's fucked up. I don't know why. But it's like that stuff just, ooh. Trump 1 says, do they actively hunt down people that don't pay for the license? Yeah, they look for them. The Tates would do hot tub streams, but they have heat allergies. Yes. Neil is in Tasmania. Well, are there spiders in Tasmania? Like, Tasmania's got to be safer. And they've also got the Tasmanian devils, although their faces are like rotting off. So at least I could see one before they all die. Spiders are a primal fear. Oh, good. It's called a phobia, irrational fear. No, my fear is very rational. Spiders are fucking nasty and they can kill you. Spiders crawl in your mouth while you sleep. I already know that. Sleeping's hard enough. Sleep between the sleep apnea and the worry about shit like that at night. Yes, it's hard to sleep at times. J-Rex says, I'll say it, we should invade Australia and have 60 states. No. Then people will accidentally bring the spiders here. And then we'd have to deal with the abos. I don't want to deal with that. Sleep with your mouth closed. Well, there's that too. But yes, these guys are accused of tax cheating. But yes, there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot going on with their case right now. But I thought it was just interesting that, you know, the Tates, like, their cases aren't over. They're still fighting, and we'll see what happens to them. I just thought that was a very interesting thing there. So moving on, I don't know if you guys had seen this, but in the city of brotherly love, yes, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, there was a gentleman who was running around. And this really happened. I'm not joking. A guy went to a Dollar Tree, and you know, if you're in Britain, you would call it Poundland. That's what they call it. So they call the dollar stores in Britain Poundland. Anyway, he was at the Dollar Tree, and he, you know, as the song goes, don't just sit there, bust a move. Well, this dude busted a nut all over a lady in the store. And yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna watch this real quick, chat. No, there are no penises you can see. But here we go.
Look, he fucking nutted on my fucking leg. You go to hell, bitch. Oh my god. He nutted on my leg. He nutted on my leg. Look, he fucking.
And you know what? I understand her crying. I mean, that is I mean, that would be fucked up. I mean, that's a massive violation of her space to be done like that. I mean, I could say, you know, at least he didn't, you know, like, rape her, but I'd argue it's a sexual assault still. And the issue for him is, obviously he was aroused, so he got it up, and then he did it. So it's going to be hard. He didn't do that for sexual gratification on his own. So I think he's going to have a very tough time making that argument. Amon is just saying, hold on here, wait. Where did you... If you pause at the right time, you can see an usually long nose. Yeah. It's a massive overreaction if you ask me. I don't know. I can understand somebody feeling violated if this happened to him. Yes, at least she didn't get her toes sucked. KJ says, I cry every time somebody nuts on me. I can understand it. Too bad she didn't fucking shoot him. That'd have been funnier. Oh. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Does the guy have AIDS? Does he have HIV? Does he have hepatitis? Does he have any number of diseases that can be transmitted with that? Yeah, it's fucked up. It's ectoplasm. Yeah, it's like he's like Ray when they encounter Slimer in the hotel. Oh, does he have a condition where he's nuts every time he sneezes? I don't know. Kat says, would that be considered sexual battery? I don't know if it would. I could see the argument for it, but it's also more likely there's also in states now like spitting and assaulting people with bodily fluids. That's an enhanced felony. It's generally like it's still lower tier, but it's a little more serious. Oh. Topher Toke. Nice to see you here, Topher. I think you're new. If I haven't seen you here before, well, welcome. Is saying, yeah. Nick Rekieta said it was legal to nut on her leg, Your Honor. I thought some lawyer in Minnesota told me I could do it. Oh, Brett says dogs do it all the time. Well, yes, that's why we're people, not dogs. Luke says he could just say he was cranking it and she walked in the line of fire. It's like, that's not, yeah, that's like, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client was in the Dollar Tree just flogging the dolphin, as you will. Punching the clown, beating his meat. Having some little fireman time, ladies and gentlemen. And as he was seeking his release, the alleged victim walked into the line of fire. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm standing here and I fire a gun and somebody happens to walk into the line of fire, whose fault is that, really, ladies and gentlemen? Therefore, you should acquit my client. Yeah, let me know how that goes. Let me know how that goes. Let me know how that goes. Yeah. Nick Rekieta told me I could nut in the dollar store, bitch. Yeah, that's not going to work well. He was trying to frost the donuts. No. Well, things got very serious after a while because rapper Meek Mill of Philadelphia offered a bounty for the guy. He put a bounty out on the streets for this dude. So this is Meek Mill. If you haven't seen him before, he's a rapper. And oh wait, I already had this open before. Oh, hold on here. Hold on here. Criminal gmail.com. There. Bow. Continuing the article. Okay, there we go. So Meek Mill offered a $2,000 bounty for anyone able to track this guy down. Oh. So employees later told the police the suspect's a 35-year-old guy named Gary Miles and is known to frequent the plaza as well as the nearby underpass where he often parks his car. Okay. In the images, he's seen wearing a shirt with a candy cane on it that reads, "It's not going to lick itself." Buddy, you're not helping yourself here. Yeah. He frequents the underpass. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm sure he frequents it with all the homeless people down there. Everyone in town knew who it was. That's horrible. You have to go across town at least. Yeah, well, that's the issue. It gets more interesting as we go here. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So as this all happened, and here's a picture of his shirt saying it's not going to lick itself. Like, oof. Well, you go in there and start nutting on people. That's not the best. So Meek Mill says, let's play manhunt with him today in Philly. Some community service. I got 2 bands for his location. I mean, that's the best part. He's like, I got 2 bands. If you guys, okay, for those of you who aren't familiar and interact with certain segments of society, a band is generally known as $1,000 because you get the bands, the money bands at the bank. Okay. So, but yes, I got 2 bands for his location. Hours later, he voluntarily surrendered to the police. Yes, you can call it 2 racks as well. You can call it 2 racks. Yep. But yes, hours later, the police, he turned himself in, which, yeah, I'm betting it was a good idea. And I'm sure he did it because he didn't want to get chased down by people. So the Philly Nutter, which you could call him the Philly Nutter, and that would be very appropriate in so many concepts in so many ways. The Philly Nutter. He surrendered. Yeah, dude, they're going to be fucking hunting you down. Dude, for $2,000, I'll hop in the car. Like, if this happened here in Cleveland, you tell me it's like on the east side of Cleveland for $2,000, I'll hop in the car and go look for like 20 minutes. I'm not going to look all day. But like, if I'm driving home from the court, I'll like swing through the neighborhood and be like, where is he? I'm like, I'll pick up 2 G's. You tell me you don't want 2 G's? I want 2 G's, man. Nutter brother. Yeah. Yes, you'd have to pay me more than $2,000 to go to Philly. Yes, that's true. Did he pay? I don't know if anybody found him. He found himself. So I don't think that counts. Kind of like the there's a reward for Clarence Anglin and the Anglin brothers and God, what's the name of that other fucking dude who escaped Alcatraz? Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers. There is a reward out there that if they to their whereabouts in their arrest, it can be claimed. The only stipulation is they can't turn themselves in, and the family is not entitled to it either. So that's how it works. Yeah, he turned himself in for the reward. Jesus. Yes, Escape from Alcatraz, by the way, is a great movie. It's a Clint Eastwood movie. It's really fucking good. It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. Lefty, it'll be the last time, I swear. David, you got a treehouse all to yourself, man. You got a treehouse all to yourself. Corral yourself, sir. Good sir. Oh. Okay. Let me see here. All right. Moving on to Karen Reed, and I think we're going to wrap this up for the night, chat. We're going to talk about Young Thug, but I already talked about him last night, so we'll just kind of leave that one where it is for now. Karen Reed. You guys remember her dealing with all of her nonsense in the state of Massachusetts. Well, there were 2 things that have happened in the meantime. So there was a hung jury, but a couple things have happened, and we'll start out with what happened earlier this week we'll start out with what happened filed on Monday. And we'll start here July 8th. You guys can see that. Good. No, they didn't collect the evidence in Philly with a solo cup. So, affidavit of Alan J. Jackson in support of defendant's motion and dismiss. Remember, Alan Jackson is the attorney for Karen Reed. He says, I'm a partner, and this is an affidavit. So you identify who you are. I'm a partner in an LA law firm of Worksman, Jackson, and Quinn. I've been licensed to practice law since 1994. I am counsel for Karen Reed, and I'm appearing pro hoc vice. On July 2nd, I was contacted by Juror A. True name to withheld identity and maintain anonymity. Based on my conversation with Juror A and that juror's description of who he is and where she was seated, and certain identifying information, name and occupation disclosed during the voir dire process, I was able to identify which juror he or she was. And that's true, because anybody could claim they're the juror, but Alan Jackson could say, hey, I remember the one day you wore like the goofy fucking hat, and you said you're a Mariners fan, and I was really confused by that. Or whatever it is. He was able to verify who it was. Juror 8 told me that he or she, and this is how they keep them, you could use they, but he, she, this is a way to keep it still not clear who it was seeing inaccurate reports about the split among the jurors related to the mistrial the court declared before. Jurors stated that they wished to be respectful of the privacy of the deliberative process, but did wish to inform me of the true results of such process, which they're allowed to do. You're allowed to disclose what happened in the jury room. Jury indicated that he believed it's important to discuss the results because he or she believes those impacted Karen Reed. Jury told me the result of the deliberations, the jury unanimously agreed Karen Reed is not guilty of count 1. Jury is emphatic that count 1 was off the table, meaning all 12 jurors were in agreement. She was not guilty. Jury also said that after doing count 1, they determined Karen Reed was not guilty of count 3, leaving the scene with an injury or death. So, yeah, this is interesting. It's very, very interesting, guys. It is very, 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 very interesting. So one of you guys were saying, what are you asking about here? Hold on. Karen says he went to Air Force, then law school. Yeah, he was in the Air Force. He was a jet mechanic. And then where did he go to school at? He went to let me see here. Where has he been? Where's his education at here? Yes, he went to the University of Texas in 1991, and then he went to he graduated from Pepperdine in Pepperdine Law School in Malibu. Pepperdine's actually a very good law school in 1994. Yes, he's from Texas. He went to the Texas, like he says, we ain't got no quit. Anyways, continuing on. On July 1st, when the jury presented a note to the court, all counsel were ordered to the courtroom. The note was not presented to counsel for review. Rather, the court indicated the jury's in an impasse. Now, I always ask to see the note. That is something I do. I say, Your Honor, can I just see the note? And no judge has ever given me like the stink eye. It just, Judge, I'd like to see it. Just for completeness. Like you check all the documents. You know what I think? I said it's just fair the state and I look at it. And I did that when I was a prosecutor and as a defense attorney. Once a jury received, the court then read the note verbatim in open court, and without providing any opportunity for defense counsel to be heard, court declared a mistrial and excused the jury. Neither Miss Reed nor her counsel consented to the entry of the mistrial. Yeah, but I don't think they were strenuously loud enough to say, Your Honor, we object. We have not had a chance to discuss the mistrial. I don't think they did a good job of protecting that on the record. I think that might hurt them down the road. So. Defense counsel was denied the opportunity to request the court inquire on which counts the jury may have been deadlocked and on which counts the jury may have arrived at a verdict. Nor did the court inquire the foreperson if they were in an impasse or did they reach a verdict on any of the counts. Yeah, but it sounds like from the way the judge read the note, and here's the neat thing, that note is part of the record. The way that works is those notes come out on scribbles of paper. Those get preserved. All the juror notes get preserved. They get marked with like exhibit stickers. It's a court exhibit and it gets put into like a folder. A lot of times a court will copy them so there's extra, because it's written on a piece of paper. They'll make copies so they're preserved. And then like that way everybody can have them if they ever need them. And God forbid, like that folder gets wet or something, they're not lost forever. You make copies of them. So yeah, it would be very important to know because the way the judge read it, Judge Cannoni read it, it sounded like they hadn't reached an agreement on anything. But who knows if that's true or not because nobody saw it. Now that part I agree. They should have been able to see the note. Jackson is saying, had the court so inquired, it appears the not guilty would have been recorded for count 1 and count 3. And then he said, this is the true and best of my knowledge under penalty of perjury. The laws of the United States, state of California, and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now, why is he saying that? Because he executed it in California at his office. So he not only is he committing perjury in a court in Massachusetts, but he'd be committing perjury in California. Also, his bar license in California is on the line if he did that. I don't think he's lying, because this is a really fucking retarded thing to lie about. So that happened. And as things have progressed, we are now on to another affidavit that was filed by Alan Jackson. Now, why is Alan Jackson filing these? Because he's no longer on the team. He left. He's not around anymore. He could be a witness now. So with that, he can be a witness. Now he can testify and it's not a problem. And he can say, yeah, these jurors came and talked to me. They told me stuff. Your Honor, let's go. So yes, he says all the same things again here. This is all normal. Now he says, I was contacted by Juror D. Juror D. We have Juror A, Juror B, Juror C, and we're on to Juror D now. There are 4 of them. 4 jurors. 4. Luke says he's still on the team. He just went home for break. I thought he was leaving the team. Either way, he's going to have to testify now. Katie says, I don't know that. I think he's not coming back from what I understood. I think he was just out, period. He's just like, I got other shit I got to do. Oh, Luke says Yannetti also filed an affidavit too. Okay. Well, I thought Jackson, since he was done, like he was like, I need to move on. I got other things to do in my office. Because Alan Jackson was leaving the way I understood it. He was going to stick around for some of the stuff afterwards, but I don't think he was going for another trial again. Yeah, there's a new attorney. Nobody's sure if that's going to happen. Captain Chromo says that's why the motion to dismiss was filed by the third attorney that isn't Yannetti or Jackson. Yeah. So there's another attorney in the mix. I don't know what his name is. I really haven't been following Karen Reed too much because Alec Baldwin's the hot thing now. Katie says, what about their notebooks during trial? Those notes are not admissible. Those are their own private musings. Like I've asked Bayless before, like in those notebooks, like what happens to them? And you know, she told me, she's like, I can't tell you what specifically has been said, but, oh God, it's 12:30 already. Damn, we're like kicking ass tonight, chat. We're gonna have to wrap this up. So I said, like, do you ever get them where the jurors are just like squiggling and drawing? She's like, oh yeah. Every once in a while you get it where the juror just sat there and like drew pictures and like, you know, she's like, we're not supposed to look, but it's hard to like when a guy's drawing like, You know, like the one guy, she's like, "Did you really need pictures of like buildings and stuff?" You know, you can do that. Like you're allowed to make notes, whatever the hell you want. So no, those are destroyed, and those are always destroyed. They're not preserved. Nope, they're shredded and gone. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, so he would appear by Zoom? Okay. I could have sworn I heard he was gone. Yeah, I could have heard. I heard he was gone, but okay, I guess he's not. You could draw a penis, yeah, covered in dicks, just like in Superbad. Yep, all kinds of dicks. Drawing of the Twin Towers. Yes, you could do that too. All right, so let's get back to this chat. So juror D, we're up to 4 jurors now. That's how like bad things are getting. Mofolk, you're asking per band. No, a band is $1,000. So like if I'm offering 2 bands, BANDS, 2 bands, I'm offering you $2,000. I'm talking about the Nutter. So they talk about juror D, and they go through the same things again with juror D. And the juror D said it was very troubling the entire case. Now we're getting this juror saying, "Oh, it was troubling. The case ended without the jury being asked what happened." That it was very troubling. The entire case ended with the jury being asked about each count. The jury said that count 1 and count 3 were not guilties, and count 2 was the only one that there was a disagreement on. The juror D said the jury actually discussed telling the judge they had agreed unanimously on not guilty verdicts, but they weren't sure if they were allowed to do so. The jury believed that they were compelled to come to a resolution on all counts before they could or should accept verdicts on any of the counts. Juror D explained that they were confused and upset that never came. Juror D said that they were aboard the bus, many of them were uncomfortable, wondering, is anybody going to know we acquitted Karen Reed of count 1 and 3? Looks like not. Juror stated once the case is over, they remained very uncomfortable with the result. And it didn't feel right. Juror D said every one of us will agree and acknowledge we found Karen Reed not guilty of count 1 and 3 because that's what happened. And they believe it's unjust for Karen Reed to be retried. And that he or she would agree to testify in order to explain to the court the jury unanimously reached not guilty verdicts, counts 1 and 3, as long as their identity remained protected. So what's going to happen? We're probably going to have an in-camera hearing. And that's actually not an issue when you're dealing with juror misconduct or juror issues. That's actually probably something that's one of the times where that's going to happen. Now, what may happen is if it does get televised, like the camera faces the ceiling, or the camera only faces Jackson and Yannetti and this other attorney and then Lally and the judge. That other person may not, camera stays away from him. I don't know. KLF says, then why not check the not guilty box? Remember, the judge's first jury instructions went back and were really fucking confusing. And then there was that big fight and argument where they said, Judge, you're wrong. And she's like, no, I'm not wrong. And then later she's like, yeah, you're right. Actually, I was wrong. So the instructions were really fucking confusing. The instructions were really fucking confusing to people, apparently. So we'll find out. I mean, she's going to grant a hearing, but remember, all it takes is one juror to go, nope, I didn't say that. And it's probably going to diffuse the whole thing. So we'll see. We'll see who sticks to it. We'll see who sticks to things. We'll see if anybody sticks to it. And then we'll end on this one real quick because this is interesting and Bella brought it up. We'll cover it real quick. In the Maldives, a minister is arrested performing black magic on their president. So by Agency Francais, AFP, the police in the Maldives have arrested a state environmental minister for reporting and telling people she was accused of performing black magic on the president. She's remained in custody for a week pending investigations, and she performed black magic on the president. The police would neither confirm nor deny the report. See, that's the funny thing. Like, is it because they're performing black magic, or she was threatening him? I'd like to think it's they're threatening him, but it's the it's the third world. Sorcery is not a criminal offense under the penal code. In the Muslim majority Maldives. And if you guys didn't know, the Maldives, they are islands out in the out on the other side of the world. They are in the Indian Ocean. Let me see if I can bring up the map here. So the Maldives are, let me see here if I can show this up in a way that works. Okay, so here you go, chat. So you've got, here is India, you got Sri Lanka, and then off of India and Sri Lanka, you have the Maldives. Then down here are the Seychelles. Over here is Ethiopia and Somalia. Here's Yemen. Here's where all the boats are going when they get shot at. And then up this way is the Persian Gulf, where all the precious oil is, all the blood oil. And then way over here is the Strait of Malacca, the busiest shipping corridor in the world. So anyway, and this is the funny part, because yes, we can't escape the fact that we're living in the fucking 1400s. Under Islamic law, carries a 6-month jail sentence. So people widely practice traditional ceremonies, cursing their opponents. And a lady got stabbed to death because she was conducting black magic on her neighbors. Police cracked down on an opposition rally after the accused organizers of throwing a cursed rooster at officers raiding their offices. So yes, they are. Yes, hooray for. Yes, hooray. The Seychelles is dangerous. The Seychelles is pretty safe. It's pretty nice there in the Seychelles. The Seychelles is pretty base. Like, you go there on vacation. I mean, the only problem is, like, you're stuck in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Like, the State Department, like, says, like, yeah, go for it. It's like going anywhere else. It's not like you're going to Yemen where it's like, don't go. Oh. Malacca Pusti. No, it's not that. Malacca, Straits of Malacca. Amateur iconoclast says Islam is right about women. Well, okay. Well, curses are real. Sanichu is proof. Yeah. Sanichu is proof, yes. Aquatic Nomad says, thanks, I have it on a bucket list. Yeah, Yemen, hard no. Well, the Seychelles, I think, would be a fun place to go. It looks pretty cool. It's got beautiful weather. Even the Maldives has pretty good weather too. A lot of people go there. So I just thought it was interesting, still Islam's running the show. All right, chat. So that is it for tonight. 360 people here. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Oh, we got to catch up. There are some other super chats we got to do real quick. Super Wiener for $5 says, actors go to school to get rid of the UK accent for roles. Therefore, there's a literal speech impediment. Never forget that. Yes. And the amount of British actors who come over to America and do American roles is crazy. Like, if you watch Band of Brothers, most of the cast of Band of Brothers are British, including like Dick Winters and a lot of them. EDW Raptor says Eritrean citizens also have to pay income taxes about living abroad. Eritrea is up on the Horn of Africa. Let's be honest, if they got out, they're not going to pay it anyway. Yes. Eritrea is a very interesting country. If you ever get a chance to look into it, they have very interesting politics. Cerebus Wanderers for £5 sterling. The King Sterling. It's $5.45 there in Britain right now. He says, you can have a TV. You just need the license to watch live TV. I haven't had a TV license in 12 years. And Squizgar says for $5, Sean, some of us have hobbies. Oh. Schrenger's Denny's order for $10 saying, Tate told me I could coom on her leg. Yes, well, don't coom. Don't come. Don't come. See, Unhung, if you're out there, and it'd have been a perfect night for that. Don't come. Don't come. Johan Noxos for $5 says, 73 seconds and good luck in the contest. Chat. So, let's see here. What else we got? Nope, we're all caught up, I think, everywhere. What do you guys look at here? Okay. All right, chat. So we're all done. Thank you for everybody being here. Thank you everybody here on Locals, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch. Like the one of you that's there on Twitch. Thank you for being here. We are all done. We are all done. Aquatic Nomad says, are you doing a live stream in the Baldwin trial tomorrow? Yes, I will be, but not till the afternoon. I've got to go do some lawyer shit tomorrow. Got to go talk to my clients. I got to go do a couple things in person. I got to get filed, and then I have to go and I got 2 people I got to get arraigned tomorrow. So I'm going to take care of that, and then we'll be starting. We will be starting in the afternoon, probably like 3 o'clock or so. I don't think any earlier than that. My luck, probably not, because the arraignments take forever, because I don't know what order my people are in. So we'll find out. But it'll be in the afternoon, and we'll start up. And the neat thing is, when you start late, we can go 1.5 speed and blow through stuff. So we'll be doing it. And good night, everybody. And remember, until next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Even right now, Alec Baldwin, just because he did it, he's still not guilty. I don't know if it's going to hold out, but for now he is. So good night, chat. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rekieta yelled at? Why, yes it was, he even knows he's fat. For all this fun and more, there's one place to go. Here on
Yes, we're doing Locals.
Potentially Criminal Show.
Real quick, one more thing, chat. Saturday night, Mr. Medicare is going to take down Boogie 2988 permanently. So stick around for that Saturday night. See you guys. Bye.